and shoot Donald Trump, then certainly it's not a sufficient footprint for a terrorist group or organization or an Iranian assassin, which is the current threat level for Donald Trump.
The fact that this building, 140-ish yards away, was not in the Secret Service perimeter, we did not get specific answers as to why it was not. Do you think moving forward, that kind of building will absolutely be included in the perimeter? Like, in other words, do you feel confident that the Secret Service has made some changes that are in effect now?
No, I'm confident that everybody, in the world is aware that should be the case, but I'm not confident that she believes it's the case. Also, that there are several things that occurred here. There was no communication between the outer perimeter and the inner perimeter. One, the shooter was identified as a threat. No communication was happening with the Trump team or with his security detail. No one indicated that he should just wait to come out while they determine what this suspicious person with a scope, a yardage meter
rangefinder, the rangefinder, yeah.
Yes, right, the rangefinder. So those things where they allowed him to go on stage, it is just as concerning as the perimeter that they had set.
Yeah, she confirmed the shooter was on their radar, and that they were notified 2 to 5 times, that the Secret Service was notified 2 to 5 times of his existence. She couldn't say more specific than 2 to 5 times, but then went on to explain that there's a difference between being suspicious versus a threat. It sounds like after Congressman Mfume followed up that we don't even know if contact with him was made, that in other words, Secret Service was told about this person, but no one then went over to him and said, hey dude, what you doing?
Right. No action was taken except to shoot him after he shot Donald Trump.
Right.
That's not providing somebody protection.
She was asked about previously saying that they didn't put anyone on the roof, even though they'd identified it as a vulnerability because it was sloped. And she said there was a plan in place to provide, quote, overwatch, that we're still looking at who was going to provide overwatch, but that they prefer to have sterile rooftops. What does that mean to you?
It means incompetence. I mean, it absolutely means just a completely lack of understanding that their goal is to protect the person who's on stage, and every vulnerable area from which they could be threatened needs to be secured. It's that basic.
What would you tell someone, Congressman, who is campaigning for president to do right now? Should former President Trump, as he is not sitting president, he doesn't have that level of Secret Service protection, should he adjust his personal security detail?
I have asked for an independent assessment of the current footprint of the Secret Service. I asked Director Wray of the FBI to engage the Secret Service to provide that and to do cross agencies across the federal government to come in and review their footprints. I do not know if that is happening, but it certainly is a step that should.
Waiting 60 days? It sounded like she was saying that she had 60 days or that it might be that long before she has more concrete answers. 60 days seems, gosh, I don't think any lawmaker was satisfied with that.
Right. So there's the issue of the investigation of what happened. Then there's the issue of how do you make certain it never happens again? Certainly, within the Secret Service, within the FBI, within our security forces, there's an ability to secure these areas and to make sure that these mistakes are not repeated.
Okay, two more about President Biden himself. I do have to ask, as head of House Intel, you told me at the convention you were worried about the president operating not just for the next 4 months, but for the next 4 days. Do you worry our adversaries see something here that they could take advantage of?
Absolutely. I think the biggest national security threat right now is indecisiveness out of the White House. I'm aware of several national security decisions that need to be made at the White House where staff are making recommendations and we're not even able to get a decision out of the White House. That indecisiveness represents a national security risk. What we're seeing with Biden and this indecisiveness is evident also in Ukraine. I mean, it's very public that both Zelensky, the Secretary General of NATO, and White House staff have recommended to the president to change the protocols that apply to Ukraine with respect to their ability to attack valid military targets inside Russia or Russian targets even in Crimea. No decision is coming out of the White House. that indecisiveness has huge impacts on the battlefield, and certainly, I think, international security in general.
Now, we have not seen President Biden since July 17th when he stepped off his plane in Delaware. We were told he had COVID. He issued a statement telling us he would not be running for president for a second term on Sunday. He called into campaign headquarters on Monday evening after the vice president had flown there to speak with staff.
I know it's hard because you poured your heart and soul into me. So help us win this thing. Help me get this nomination. Help me win the nomination, and then go on to win the presidency.
While many have wondered when we will see him, his Sunday statement said he would address the country about his decision not to run later this week.
It's very concerning because it's so easily remediable. So obviously we all have to have concern as to what is his condition, what is his functioning level. And, that's why I have called for his cabinet to immediately meet and do an assessment. His cabinet can demand to see him, and they should assess whether or not he's capable of functioning as president. If he's not, then they should invoke Article 25. This is not how democracy is supposed to work. I mean, there was a primary season with the Democrats where the electorate went to the polls and voted for Joe Biden. Joe Biden doesn't have an ability to just announce that she will be his successor. There has to be a democratic process. The fact that Biden has run around saying that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, and by the way, I'm just going to subvert democracy, is incredible irony.
Oh, Congressman and House Intelligence Committee Chairman Mike Turner, thank you so much for joining.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com.
I'm Joel Clark, a Select Quote agent, with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and he can't take it with him. Well, I went to work and found Ray, who's 40 and takes medication to control his high blood pressure, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. That's way more coverage for a lot less than what he was paying. If Select Quote didn't shop for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote and to find out how much you can save, call 1-800-403-5050. That's 1-800-403-5050. 1-800-403-5050. Or go to selectquote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policies at selectquote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
We'll speak with David Stokes from the Show Me Institute on Quick Trip suing St. Charles. And at 5:20, Dr. Randy Tobler on Biden dropping out.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Re-elect State Representative Tony Lavasco. Tony Lavasco eliminated licenses for home-based businesses. Tony Lavasco, rated 100% by the American Conservative Union. Tony Lavasco, the only candidate endorsed by Missouri Right to Life and by the NRA. Tony Lavasco, the only choice for small, limited government. On August 6th, vote Liberty. Vote Lavasco.
I'm Tony Lavasco, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Citizens for Lavasco. Dan Rakers.
Loyalty means a lot at Ackerman Toyota. That's why during COVID, Ackerman refused to charge over sticker price, while others did. Ackerman stayed true to their customers, selling at or below manufacturer suggested prices. Ackerman will get you what you want, and the service department has the same spirit. You come first. And thank you for making Ackerman Toyota #1 in 2023. Ackerman Toyota, AckermanToyota.com. Ackerman Toyota for life.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
What happens next?
Joe Biden drops out of the 2024 presidential race.
Happens right here.
If you claim to stand for unity, you need to do more than just use the word.
Never going to drop out, and now I'm dropping out.
I vote for Kamala.
With 29 days until they have to make a decision on a nominee.
America Decides 2024.
She is unfit and unqualified to be our president and commander-in-chief.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
I don't think Kamala has a chance to beat Trump.
News Talk STL.
We have eyes on him with the drone.
Exposing new crimes and delivering swift justice. Crime Cam 24/7. New episode Friday on Fox Nation. Sign up now at foxnation.com.
America is streaming.
Look at what's happening from the Fox News Rundown.
Good morning. It's Tuesday, July 23rd. I'm Ted Lindner, and this is the Fox News Rundown. Many continuing to ask why President Biden has not been seen in public following his COVID diagnosis and his decision to drop out of the race. Fox's Kevin Cork has more.
Questions abound about the president's condition. His doctor said Mr. Biden's symptoms after 10 treatments of Paxlovid had, quote, almost resolved completely after testing positive for COVID last Wednesday. But here's the thing. We still haven't seen the president since last Wednesday. No photos, no pre-recorded videos, nothing. Of course, it's adding to all the intrigue here in Washington. Still yet unseen, Mr. Biden called into an event featuring his vice president. Now, sources tell Fox Mr. Biden's working, tweaking his remarks he's expected to deliver to the nation later this week, sort of explaining why he's dropping out and no longer running.
Biden's set to be back at the White House later today. And Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle facing a barrage of questions from lawmakers during a hearing on Capitol Hill Monday over the security failures that led to that assassination attempt against former President Trump. Fox's Aisha Hasni.
Lawmakers were downright angry with Director Cheadle as calls for her to step down grow on both sides of the aisle. This did not go well for her. The embattled director dodged a lot of questions about the investigation, really gave no answers, saying that a report would be coming out in about 60 days.
So far, Cheadle has said that she has no plans to step down. I'm Ted Lindner. That's a look at your Fox News Rundown on this Tuesday morning.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL at 1019 94.1 and newstalkstl.com.
On the next,
Larry Connors, USA.
Well, the Harris train is leaving the station. All aboard or not? Will it stay on track through the convention or derail?
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Replacing your roof is always a big deal and a big decision. That's why I want you to call my friends, the folks that we've trusted with our homestead, Eureka Contracting and Roofing. 636-938-ROOF. That's 636-938-ROOF. They are veteran-owned, over 30 years of experience in the construction and insurance industry. They'll replace 100% of your roof, siding, fascia, and gutters. They'll come to you with a personal consultation. Give them a call anytime that Mother Nature strikes you. 636-938-ROOF. Available 24/7 at EurekaContracting.com. That's EurekaContracting.com.
Looking to get a new carpet, hardwood, or tile installed quickly and efficiently in your home? Look no further than Michael's Flooring Outlet. Michael's Flooring Outlet is a family-owned and operated business with a 30-year history of offering a diverse array of high-quality options in flooring. My parents and in-laws used Michael's to rip up their old carpet and replace it. And they are both happy with the product and installation from Michael's. You can shop at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Darting Prairie, or St. Peters, or you can check them out at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Hey, Columbo here for the great cleaning pros at Zero Res. Summertime in St. Louis means barbecues, graduation parties, and spending time with friends and family. And Zero Res knows how important it is to have your home as clean and healthy as possible for your loved ones. So they have an amazing summer offer for you. Book a cleaning in July and mention the Columbo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129 and a 4th room free. Just mention the Columbo special when you call 314-474-2020 or when you book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
The O'Reilly Update, brought to you by Seavers JCB. Visit them at their St. Peter's location.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, if you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, listen up. Car Shield is a low-cost monthly vehicle protection plan now available to you. This protection plan is at an all-time low price. Please call 800-925-7584 for a free quote. Drivers who activate today will also receive free roadside assistance and towing at no additional cost. That is 800-925-7584 right now. On this Tuesday, politics isn't that complicated. It's only about one thing: power. When you read Confronting the Presidents, which will be out on September 10th, the book is All 45 Men and Whether They Hurt or Helped the Country. And some of it is going to really stun you, what they really did. But our system is fairly simple. The federal government is run like a corporation. That's number one. But instead of making money, that's what the corporations want to do, the federal government seeks power. Once a CEO or a president starts to lose power in the corporation or in the federal government, they're doomed unless they can make some kind of stunning comeback, right? Like Trump has done. Trump has made a stunning comeback. Nobody will admit that, but he has. So Biden in the Democratic corporation lost an enormous amount of power. Now, I saw that this time last year, 23, because of the high prices for everything, the open border madness, the Iranian craziness, the Chinese causing trouble in the Pacific. Everywhere, Biden was losing power. Everywhere. So I've been doing this 50 years. When I see that, I know the person in charge is gone. Like a baseball or football manager or coach. The team loses consistently, they're gone. It's as simple as that. Back after this. You can now watch new episodes of the No Spin News live on Samsung TV Plus. Tune in each weeknight at 8 p.m. on the First TV for breaking news, honest analysis, and the best election coverage in America. Please join me, Bill O'Reilly, at the First TV, now available on Samsung TV Plus. Start watching today on your Samsung television, Galaxy devices, or the Samsung TV Plus mobile app. Check out the No Spin News each weeknight at 8 p.m. on the First TV, Samsung TV Plus. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. We've got a nice night tonight, low down to 69 degrees, very near normal, a little bit muggy in the morning and mostly sunny. Turning partly cloudy, just watch for a low chance for a spot shower, thunder shower in the afternoon to evening. It's about a 15% chance. Most will stay dry. We'll have light winds and a high of 87. Wednesday, a little hotter and more humid, a high of 89 degrees. Once again, a 15% chance for a shower or thunder shower in the afternoon to early evening. Any rain would be brief and spotty. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
Staff Sergeant Mark Anthony Madrid.
Staff Sergeant Samantha Cowell.
I'm Staff Sergeant Alex
Staff
Keeler.
Sergeant
William Lewis, and I am proud to defend my family and our nation.
The Air Force Reserve is part of the story of this great nation.
I'm grateful that I have a chance to wear the uniform of the heroes that went before me.
I'm proud to be part of a team that helps make a difference in the world.
Every day, men and women from communities across this nation serve as reserve citizen airmen. Even as technology evolves and changes, our commitment to defend and protect this nation remains steadfast. We celebrate those who have served and those who are proudly serving. We celebrate our proud history and look towards an exciting and uniting future. Our mission is to fly, fight, and win in air, space, and cyberspace.
And I am proud to be a member.
And I'm proud to serve in the United States.
And I am proud to protect our country. Proud to serve in the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
Number one for live and local
conservative talk.
Every day, something new.
News, analysis, and opinion.
I'm going to sound the same warning now that I have been for years. She is unfit and unqualified to be our president and commander-in-chief.
As they lecture you and I on democracy, they literally just trashed 14 million Democrat primary voters.
We are the most unified party I think that's ever existed.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL. Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Well, the Democrats are still trying to figure out what their next move is, and we know that the deal making is just getting more intense all the time. We've got the follow-up for you on that. Hey, I'm Mike Ferguson. Good morning. Thanks for making News Talk STL part of this Tuesday morning. Don't forget, connect with us on social media. We've got the live streams up and running right now on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and, of course, Rumble as well. Love to chat with you on there as the show goes on all day. All right, we talked to our good friend Jeff Charles from RedState.com. He, of course, is covering this for, well, RedState. And he says, you know what? The Democrat establishment, they have made up their mind. It's Kamala Harris. It's the vice president. Here's why he thinks that's the direction they're going to go and what he thinks the outcome is going to be. Here's what he had to say on Monday's show. I'm looking at your two articles. Democrats rally behind Kamala Harris as Biden bows out. And your prediction, Democrats will choose Kamala Harris to replace Joe Biden. Now, a lot of endorsements already for Kamala Harris, including obviously the president and 530 some odd delegates already. But there are some key not endorsements yet at this point. There are people saying, hey, we might have the brokered convention. It's going to be just like the West Wing. Aaron Sorkin's going to write this thing. Why do you think they're eventually going to, or maybe quickly, going to sort of coalesce around Kamala Harris?
Yeah, so I think that, I mean, the die is already cast on that, and I think that they've really been pushing this behind the scenes since President Biden's dismal debate performance against Trump. I think that a lot of the issue is that they're still really tied to their identity politics, so I really don't see them choosing another white male to replace when they have Kamala Harris, who is a black woman. I think that she had already been positioning herself for this position even during the 2020 campaign. So there may be some who try to go with somebody else, But I think Kamala is the one that's going to get it for better or for worse. I also think that at this point, it's very unlikely that any Democratic candidate is going to beat Trump after the assassination attempt, after how Democrats have bungled things while they've been in office. And really, she'd make a pretty good sacrificial lamb. I mean, I wrote this about Governor Gavin Newsom. I don't think he's going to throw his hat into the ring. I think he's going to wait until 2028 because he wants to win. Kamala Harris, I mean, you can never say never in 2024, but I think that since people don't really like her all that much with her low approval ratings, she's the perfect one to put up and lose, and then Democrats can regroup for 2028.
Morning, Jeff. Gade Pfeiffer here. So I've been watching Kamala Harris's interesting career for a little bit now, and I've seen her being rolled out to try and shore up the black vote on a couple of occasions where there were Democratic operatives who'd say, "Oh yeah, she's going to go and try to recapture the black male vote," which seems to be breaking a little bit for Trump. Now, as a black man, I'm not really seeing that. So I'm curious what your take is.
Yeah, and it's funny too because I mean I think in part they want to push her to appeal to black voters, especially since Biden wasn't doing as well as he did before. But I've said this from the beginning, even from 2020. They're not pushing Kamala Harris to get black voters. They're pushing Kamala Harris to get white women. So I think the black vote is secondary here. I think they want white women, and then if they can get more black people, they can. But like you said, black people, and especially black men in general, aren't that crazy about her. So I think a lot of black men are just going to sit on the couch on election day, and then some are going to actually vote for Trump. I do believe he'll increase his black support, maybe not as much as some people are anticipating or hoping, but I think that is going to happen just because people are dissatisfied with Biden. They're dissatisfied with Harris. They never really liked her in the first place. So I do think that there will be a bump, but I don't think that she's going to get, more black support than what. That being said, she's still going to get the vast majority of black voters.
Hey, Jeff, what do you make of the Democrats? Is there an impetus on them just strategically to try to backsell, what the Biden administration has done and try to pump up Joe Biden as, hey, as he's riding off into the sunset, what a great guy, stop beating him up? Is there a strategic reason why they want him to go out gracefully and to accolades and get people to say, all right, I'm done kicking him while he was down? I mean, is there a campaign reason to do that? Because we're hearing words like patriot, we're hearing words like selfless, we're hearing words like that to describe Joe Biden that are way too similar across the board to not think that those came from a central DNC talking point.
Yeah, we're already seeing it, right? I mean, the media has been calling for him to drop out and floating the idea of replacing him for the past 3 or 4 weeks. Now that he's actually agreed to do what they want, the spin has already begun. They're going to cast him as this elder statesman who, brought us out of the era of Trump and brought all these jobs back and yada, yada, yada. Now we're going to get all of the glowing pieces, making him look like some Winston Churchill type figure. And it's so blatant that it's hard to see this as anything other than a political strategy on the part of the media.
Good morning, Jeff. Stal Ponticus here. So is there a danger that he stays in office for the next 6 months and tries to push more executive orders through and maybe even pardon Hunter?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I think that now that he's basically a lame duck, he's going to try to do everything he can. I mean, we can probably expect some more ATF rules against guns. We can expect him to push more anti-gun policy through the executive office since he can't get it through Congress. But I wouldn't be surprised if Democrats actually pressure him to resign so that Kamala can take over as acting president. Now she's already in the office, and the belief would be, or the strategy would be, that since she's president now, if they do convince Biden to resign, that she is the perfect person to take up the mantle since she's already in office. I think that's very much a possibility. It'll be a balancing act that they have to play, but I think that could actually happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole different dynamic if you're just choosing between two free agents and it's an open seat versus you're being asked to fire somebody who's already in that job, even if they were not elected to that job. It really would change the dynamics. And I wouldn't be surprised if they invent some reason to make sure that he resigns, prior to the election, to make sure that she is the 47th president of the United States and running as the incumbent.
Yeah, I think so too. They may not do it right away. I mean, I know they don't have a whole lot of time between now and Election Day, but they might give them a few more weeks. They may have already done it. This may have already been part of the deal, and that just hasn't been announced yet. But I think that strategically, it would actually be a good move for Democrats if they did that.
All right. We're visiting with Jeff Charles from RedState.com. And Jeff, just got a couple minutes left here. Are there any possible candidates that would be or could be a threat to win the election, who would be somebody who would have a better chance of competing with Donald Trump and J.D. Vance that either we're not thinking of or who may just be looking at, and I think what you said is right, saying, ooh, I'm not going to burn up all my fuel on this election when I'm unlikely to win. I'm going to keep my powder dry for 2028. Is there anybody out there, though, that the Republicans should be concerned about as more of a competition or more of a political threat?
You know, I really don't think so. I mean, I brought up Gavin Newsom earlier. If he did decide to throw his hat in the ring, he would probably do better against Trump than Harris, but I still don't think he would win. Now, that being said, I mean, Trump and Republicans shouldn't get complacent right now. It's theirs to lose, but we can never underestimate the ability of the GOP to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory.
Mm-hmm.
So it can still happen, but I think if they play their cards right, I don't think there's any Democrat that they can put up that would beat Trump in November.
Yeah, the left circles the wagons and the right circles the firing squad.
Yes, the circular firing squad.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
You'd think we'd be better with firearms.
You would think so, exactly. Oh man! All right, Jeff. So last minute or so here. What do we watch for in the next, the coming days or so? I mean, obviously there's a lot of horse trading going on the Democratic side. Some of the biggest names on the Democratic side have yet to make like an endorsement, encourage the delegates to commit to Kamala Harris or anybody else. What do you think we should be looking for in the short term right away? Because I think you're right. I think they want this settled before the convention. But my God, do I really want to see a brokered convention and all the drama? I just don't. I just think they're going to deny me that.
Yeah. I think so too. I mean, because the Democrats are smart. They're not going to want that much drama right now. I mean, the attention is on them since Biden dropped out of the race. Kamala Harris is being pushed. We're not talking as much about the assassination attempt that just happened a week ago. So right now they have the press and they're going to use it to the best of their ability. And they've always been pretty good at that. So I don't think that we're going to get the drama, any kind of drama that's going to hurt them. I think that a lot of this will be resolved before the convention. I think some people might try to run against her, but I think it's just going to be more of a, we're just doing this just to make it look good. But I think they've chosen their nominee.
Because democracy.
Yeah.
Democracy. Save democracy.
Protect it.
All right. Check out Jeff's work at RedState.com. Just look up Jeff Charles. He's always in the top few articles that's up there. Jeff, great talking to you, man. Thanks so much.
Jeff's Instagram is fire, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, without a doubt.
Thanks for having me.
Hey,
Jeff.
Hey, he calls out people of whiteness.
Oh, yes. The people of whiteness.
That's right.
That's my favorite term ever.
Absolutely. All right, Jeff. We'll talk to you again soon, man. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Jeff.
Take it easy.
The first morning news dump of the day comes your way in just about 2 minutes and 17 seconds right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com. Mike Ferguson in the morning. So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Come join the conversation. All you have to do is say,
Hey Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Attention voters. The truth about Phil Cristofanelli may surprise you.
As state representative, Phil was endorsed by Promo, a Democrat-led LGBTQIA+ organization with extreme views.
Promo pushes for sex changes for kids, males and girls sports and bathrooms, and teaching gender confusion in schools.
Phil's record speaks for itself.
He voted to allow boys and girls sports.
And pushed to teach sexual orientation and gender identity in public schools.
Is this the leadership we want? Think carefully when you vote.
Paid for by Leadership for America PAC, John Royal, Treasurer.
Severs JCB has amazing deals on JCB mini excavators ranging from 2 tons to 10 tons. The choice is yours to take 5 on one of these great offers. Take 0% financing for 5 years or take up to a $5,500 cash rebate and 5-year warranty. See terms and conditions for details. These offers are for a limited time, so head to your nearest Severs JCB and check out their full line of JCB construction equipment or visit seversjcb.com.
Hey, sand volleyball junkies. Feel the rush and show off your skills for our brave first responders. Join the David Dorn Foundation's Top Gun Maverick Sand Volleyball Fundraiser Tournament, Saturday, August 31st. Enjoy Oh So Good barbecue from Sugarfire, a splat gun tent for an energy charge, and DJ Peasy Montana to keep you entertained. Saturday, August 31st at the Sugarfire location in Wentzville. To protect, to serve, to spike. Sign up today at dornfoundation.com.
Are you a St. Louis small business owner looking to boost your brand? Blue Ocean Media Group offers affordable video production that packs a punch. From social media content to branded promotional clips, we'll help you stand out in the digital crowd. Professional quality, small business prices. Let's tell your story together. Learn more at blueomg.com. That's blueomg.com. Blue Ocean Media, big impact videos for small business budgets.
Have you noticed bad behavior has become normalized at interscholastic athletic events? Some fans seem angry. They lack civility toward one another. Some even get aggressive and unruly. Time out! What is going on? This has to stop. Let's not forget, school sports aren't just about winning. And they're definitely not an excuse to take your frustrations out on the official or the opponent. They're about teaching lessons like perseverance, respect, and empathy, so students can learn and grow as people, not just as players. We all have a role to play in setting a good example for our students and teaching them these important values. So fans, it's time to step up your game and behave positively at interscholastic athletic events in Missouri.
This message presented by the MSH SAA and the Missouri Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
What happens next?
Joe Biden drops out of the 2024 presidential race.
Happens right here.
If you claim to stand for unity, you need to do more than just use the word.
I'm never going to drop out, and now I'm dropping out.
I'd vote for Kamala.
With 29 days until they have to make a decision on a nominee.
America Decides 2024.
She is unfit and unqualified to be our president and commander-in-chief.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
I don't think Kamala has a chance to beat Trump.
News Talk STL.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
Driving home this evening, I could have sworn we had it all worked out.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks, the Morning News Dump.
All right, Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle gets humiliated on national television.
That was a sad state of affairs.
That was brutal.
It sure was.
But it was brutal because she put herself in that position. I actually have some of the audio from the questioning by Nancy Mason. Yes, I had to bleep a couple things on that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, Joe Biden says he is going to finish his term. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right. And hundreds of workers walk off the job in the area. That happened about, not quite 6 hours ago. All right. It is 5:50 right now. All right. Let's get started with that verbal beatdown that happened in Washington, D.C. yesterday. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle testifying before the House Oversight Committee about that attempted assassination of Donald Trump. Congressman Byron Donalds was discussing the hearing on the Ingram angle, including and especially Kimberly Cheadle's habit of not answering questions, very direct questions.
You don't have to give us the names of specific agents, but you can sit there and say, we were alerted at this time, and here's the flow of information as it got down to the president's core detail team, which is with him basically all the time. She couldn't even give us that level of information.
And Republicans are not the only ones who are demanding that she resign.
Representative Ro Khanna became the second Democrat to call for the resignation of Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle on Monday as she testified before the House Oversight and Accountability Committee. He told Cheadle, quote, "If you have an assassination attempt on a president, a former president, or a candidate, you need to resign." He stressed that the Secret Service should transcend politics so as to have the confidence of independents, Democrats, Republicans, progressives, and conservatives. Bob Hagner reporting.
So, Stel, this is one of those rare times where there's complete bipartisan agreement. I don't hear anybody saying, you know what, this isn't fair. You know, you're just attacking her. Everybody is basically saying, you're in over your head. You should not be there. If this could be a colossal failure for this candidate, then what guarantee do we have that there won't be another glaring failure with another candidate?
And especially one from our party, meaning the Democratic side of the aisle.
Right, exactly. And that hearing went on for hours. And you have got to think that she knew she was going to walk into a rough day. But did she know she was going to walk into that rough of a day?
Well, you know what? With the horrendous breakdown that happened on that Saturday, and so many things that we haven't even heard about yet that occurred. Boy, she just totally blew it. And you're right. She should have been fired.
She should. Yeah, absolutely. If she won't step down, she should be fired in the most humiliating fashion absolutely possible. Barely Biggs on Rumble chat box. He said, "I want to buy Nancy Mace a beer." I have the audio that I'm pretty sure he was thinking of.
All right.
And yes, I had to put bleeps in it, but we'll have that right after the 6 o'clock hour here. Okay, the Associated Press is reporting that Vice President Kamala Harris now has enough delegate votes to secure the Democratic nomination for president at their convention next month. They did a survey basically of every delegate they could reach, and they've got more than that 1,900 whatever threshold who have said that they are going to be voting for Kamala Harris. So far, no announced opponents have emerged, and the Harris campaign is now vetting possible running mates. This will not surprise you, Stel. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is reported to be on that short list.
You're right. Doesn't surprise me.
Nope, not in the least bit. And I got to thinking, I'm like, okay, well, what's J.B. Pritzker bring to the table? I mean, you know, he's in a deep blue state. The Democrats don't have to worry. Oh, he's a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
He can fund a lot.
That's right.
By the way, the Democrats are saying that in the first 24 hours since Joe Biden announced that he was not going to be running for re-election, apparently the Harris campaign, we have to get used to saying the Harris campaign, brought in $81 million.
Whoa.
That's a lot.
Last time I heard it was 60-some, so it went to 80-some.
This morning they said $81 million. So that is, I don't know if that is so much that they're passionate about Kamala Harris, because I'm not sensing that. But I do think it's a matter of either go down fighting or at least try to fund a competent campaign to help your down ticket candidates.
Yeah.
That's what I think is going on right
now. Are very concerned.
Oh, and they should be.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. All right. President Biden calls into his campaign headquarters, or I guess what used to be his campaign headquarters in Wilmington, Delaware, where Vice President Kamala Harris was speaking to the staffers there. And this is where President Biden says he is going to finish his term.
I won't be on the ticket, but I'm still going to be fully engaged. I've got 6 months left of my presidency. I'm determined to get as much done as I possibly can, both foreign policy and domestic policy.
Okay, to be clear, he hasn't really been fully engaged for the last few years, but you know, that's what he says.
So he's able to make that phone call, but has not done anything for the American people. No video, no statement, etc., with him actually in front of a camera.
Yeah, they say,
I don't care how sick he is, he could still do that.
Yeah, they say they're going to do that this week, but we don't have a day, we don't have a time, and I think they're going to be disappointed by the ratings. I'm just saying. All right. Workers at the Lear assembly plant in Wentzville now on strike. That's about 460 people from local 282 walking off the job as of midnight. The Lear plant makes seats. They make car seats for several vehicles, including for the GM plant that's right next to it. The union wants more pay, they want increased retirement benefits, and they want the company to cover more insurance costs for the workers. That's where the rub is. That's where the disagreement is. And the Lear plant already ran out of car seats to deliver to other plants, so this could end up shutting down other car manufacturing plants as well. All right, the Missouri primary election is now underway, believe it or not. No excuse early voting starts today. and it will continue through August 5th, which is one day before the actual primary election day. Now, per Missouri law, you must have a government-issued ID to vote. Check with your county clerk or your election board for locations. And at 6:05, that's one of the things I want to kind of toss out there. Are you going to do early voting? Are you going to take advantage of it? Because this is one of the things that a lot of people criticize about changes to our election, but I'm just curious what people think about that. And let's see here. The Cardinals dropped the first game of their series with the Pirates. Final score in Pittsburgh on Monday was 2-1. Nolan Gorman hit a home run in the 5th inning. That's the Redbirds, obviously, their only run. Game 2 of the series is this afternoon. Lance Lynn is on the mound for the Cardinals. First pitch is at 5:40, but the Brewers also lost, so therefore the Cardinals did not lose any ground when it comes to the National League Central.
Okay.
So I think we're going to be in for, I would say, a fascinating run in the National League Central, but I think it's going to be who ambles into the playoffs in that really weak division.
Well, wait a minute. If we're going to have chaotic politics, we might as well have chaotic baseball.
Why not? Why not?
You have a home you want to sell, you loved it, spent a lot of time in it, raised your family, but now it's time to move on. I've got a phone number you need to be calling. Be ready to copy that number down. I'm going to tell you, I'm talking about Jen and Rodney, the Wallner team, a husband and wife team that knows how it comes to a time in life that you need to start downsizing. They can help you. In fact, the Wallner team at Berkshire Hathaway sell 15 times more homes a year than the typical realtor. They'll work with you on the commission, and there's no obligation. You'll have no long-term commitment. You can simply decide, I want to change my mind. Jen and Rodney will understand. They're licensed in Missouri and Illinois. So if you're ready to sell your home or you just want to have a conversation about it, contact Jen and Rodney. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team now. 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
When you go shopping, you may not get the bargain you want, but at least you know and can compare prices. It should be that way with healthcare, but too often it's not. Need an operation on your knee? Want to know what it's going to cost? Good luck. For 3 years, hospitals have been required to provide patients with list prices and have negotiated charges for some 300 services. Only 36%, just over a third, are fully compliant. In Missouri, prices differ greatly depending on a patient's insurance. The cost of a pelvic CT scan, for example, can be 20 times more expensive in one hospital than another. Price transparency allows patients to compare providers, forces hospitals to compete on price, and helps insurers negotiate lower rates. State law should require all healthcare providers to publish prices in a user-friendly form. What we don't know is costing us. The price of healthcare shouldn't be a secret. Check out our 2024 blueprint, Moving Missouri Forward, at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jeremy House. The Secret Service's director says the roof where a shooter opened fire at Donald Trump's Pennsylvania rally was identified as a potential vulnerability days before the event. GOP Congressman Pete Sessions of Texas tells agency director Kimberly Cheadle she has to provide some answers to questions about the shooting.
Tell us what went wrong. A special agent in charge, the person who was there. Tell us, and don't try and play a shell game with us. Do you have the ability to effectively, as the director of this agency, to understand what went wrong and at least tell us, I do or don't know what I'm doing?
Cheadle was berated for hours by Republicans and Democrats, repeatedly angering lawmakers by evading questions about the investigation into the shooting. In her first public appearance since President Biden ended his 2024 campaign, Vice President Harris said the president's achievements are, quote, unmatched in modern history.
In one term, he has already surpassed the legacy of most presidents who have served 2 terms in office.
Harris is making her first visit to a battleground state today with an event in Milwaukee. The visit comes after Harris locked up enough support from Democratic delegates to win her party's nomination to challenge former President Donald Trump. At least 157 people have been killed in mudslides in a remote part of Ethiopia that's been hit with heavy rainfall. Local authorities say many of the victims were killed while they were trying to rescue survivors of an earlier mudslide. Delta Airlines is struggling for a fourth straight day to recover from the tech outage of last Friday, even as other airlines are returning to nearly normal levels of service. On Wall Street, Dow futures are ahead 37 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
You just grin and bear it or bite the bullet when it comes to everyday pain? Don't. Try Relief Factor, a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. It's 100% drug-free. It's developed by doctors. In 3 weeks or less, you'll know whether it works for you like it works for me. Try Relief Factor for yourself. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
What does it take for organizations to triumph? It takes trust. But trust is getting harder and harder to gain, which is why over 2,700 organizations display the ECFA seal. The ECFA seal gives your organization the third-party credibility that people are literally looking for. And in turn, an estimated 14 million givers support ECFA-accredited organizations. Let us help you maintain a trusted reputation as you reach the world for Christ. Visit ECFA.org.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. We've got a nice night tonight, low down to 69 degrees, very near normal, a little bit muggy in the morning and mostly sunny. Turning partly cloudy, just watch for a low chance for a spot shower, thunder shower in the afternoon to evening. It's about a 15% chance. Most will stay dry. We'll have light winds and a high of 87. Wednesday, a little hotter and more humid, a high of 89 degrees. Once again, a 15% chance for a shower or thunder shower in the afternoon to early evening. Any rain would be brief and spotty. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Caring for a loved one is stressful. It's an emotional time, and we want our loved ones to get the quality of care they deserve. But the cost of long-term care is expensive. In the St. Louis area, it could be $60,000, $70,000, or even over $100,000. Can your savings handle this added expense? Fortunately, News Talk STL listeners have an expert right here. Financial strategist Chris Cooper of Serenity Wealth Management shows families tax-efficient strategies to fund care needs. Whether planning in advance, have health concerns, or living in a care community today, solutions exist to fund the quality of care you deserve.
Hi, I'm Chris Cooper, and I'd love to send you a free copy of my new book. You'll learn about strategies to empower you and your family, protect your savings, and make sure your loved ones get the quality of care they deserve.
Visit SerenityLTC.com. That's SerenityLTC.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Mike Ferguson.
We the people.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
It's not rocket science. Rocket science.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Good morning to the people of St. Louis.
All right, the newest news story about Donald Trump, because the whole world is talking about the disarray the Democrats are in.
Mm-hmm.
So the media is like, ooh, we got this story. Media wants to point out that he's been a donor to whose past campaigns? I'll tell you here in a second.
All right.
Because
I can guess, though.
Yeah, because, I mean, a lot of people, this is something that both sides pull out. Yeah, but you donated to this campaign.
Right.
You donated to this one. So, yeah, guess who he donated to? And do you care?
No, don't care. And if it's who I'm thinking of that you're going to mention her.
Yeah.
He was a Democrat back in the day.
Right.
So
right.
That's not.
Yeah, I will say this, that his spokesperson's answer may have been one of the worst ones ever.
Oh, really?
I mean, on this,
Oh, yeah.
I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
But I'm like, because it's one of those where, you donated to this person in 1984. What do you have to say for yourself? So
it was 1984.
Right. Okay, we'll get there in a second. By the way, Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle probably knew she was in for a rough day yesterday, but did she know it was going to be that rough? Let's discuss at 6:20. Yes, I have the audio. I have the audio regarding the audio I had to bleep, and the audio regarding one of your favorite snacks.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All
All right.
Trying to put it together.
That's right. By the way, early voting is now underway in Missouri. The primary election now starts as soon as the election boards and the county clerk's offices open. So in most places, that's probably around 8:00.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, you can actually vote early now. If you got your ID, you can go get your primary ballot and vote for, the U.S. Senate and Congress and state rep and all that, state Senate and all that sort of thing. You going to use the early voting?
I've never done it before, but I'm thinking I might try it this year.
But you still?
I don't think so.
Okay, you're gonna wait
No.
till election day itself.
I enjoy doing it on election day.
Yeah, I probably will use. I think I've actually voted on election day the last couple of election cycles. I will probably go in and use early voting, but not now. I mean, I'm going to wait a little bit later. I want to see. There's a couple races where I want to see some more from the candidates. So, I mean, the pro is that you can walk in right now, and probably be in and out in like 2 minutes and get your voting and be done. No hassle. Nobody, pushing the stuff, the flyers on you as you're walking in. You don't have to worry about any of that. The bad part is that if you vote now, you don't get to take it back later. You could vote for somebody, and then 2 weeks later, the candidate you voted for says something incredibly stupid, or there's something horrible in their past, and then you're like, no, I changed my mind. Well,
No, you
it
can't.
doesn't matter now.
Yeah.
So
I do have an ulterior motive, though, because I love walking in on election day, and folks don't know us very well in Washington. And invariably, I get a question from one of the folks at the table. Oh, welcome to town. Why'd you move here? That's my opportunity to say 2 words, Cory Bush.
there you go.
And they go, oh, all right. I
Yeah,
understand.
I was going to say in Washington, my guess is that regardless of whether that's a Republican or a Democrat, they're going to go, I get it.
I get it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
That's what they say.
That's right. And they're going to be like, just like probably all these other people here as well.
And then they say, welcome to town.
Right.
There you go.
Now, I wonder if that will change if Cory Bush loses this primary election, which she may very well lose.
That could be.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Wesley Bell is anywhere near as aggravating to people
No.
as Cory is.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a matter of, okay, there are people that I disagree with. There are people I even think who arrive at certain positions through a defect of a character. There's some positions I believe you cannot hold and, have a fully formed great character.
Right.
There are also people I think who just are sincere and are sincerely wrong on the issues and wrong on their ideology and wrong on their worldview. And then there are people who are just rotten to the core.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, and
they exist. They are out there.
They really are. I mean, I've mentioned over the years that I've got, a number of friends who are, Democrats. And it's funny because like in some of my social circles, the Democrats come to me more than the fellow conservatives. And they're the ones who want to talk. I'm like, they know what I do for a living.
Right.
I mean, it's not like what I think is a secret out there. I get paid to talk about what I believe. But that's who often comes to me are my Democratic friends.
I may have total disagreement with Wesley Bell on every single political stance that he may take. I would still love to go to coffee or, have dinner with him because he seems like a good guy.
He's a nice guy. Now he's not going to go to coffee or dinner with you because he works about 15 hours a day. He's a complete workaholic. And like I said, the votes, the way that the votes are going to change if Wesley Bell wins, they're really not. He's going to vote with the party leadership. He's going to probably vote the same way Cory Bush does, but he's not going to embarrass St. Louis. He'll be a better representative of the constituency there. And if Wesley Bell gets elected, then you know what? I'm slamming his votes just like I'm going to slam anybody else's. But I know Wesley Bell, and I know that he's a leftist Democrat.
Yeah,
that's what he believes. He's not somebody who's going to sit there and make up stuff and pretend that I rubbed your belly and all your cancer tumors went away and all that nonsense. And claim that they had to cover under fire because of all the white supremacists shooting from over the hill and all the garbage that Cory Bush says. I mean, it's like at some point it's like, is she just a chronic liar or is she nuts?
I kind of tend to think that she's nuts.
Yeah.
She seems to be such a true believer in her own garbage that it's hard for me to think that she could lie with such such gusto.
Well, and now we know there's so much corruption regarding how the money is being funneled through her campaign to her husband for so-called security services. And the reality is that there's a certain base of the Democratic Party that just doesn't care.
Oh yeah.
That's their fighter. The first words she ever uttered in Congress was something about white supremacy and Donald Trump. And so there they are. They got it. And if they lose, what are they going to do? Say Wesley Bell, the white supremacist, beat her? No, I don't think so.
Yeah. And Wesley Bell's the type of guy, not that I would ever have a chance to do this. He reminds me of Cory Booker and Wes Moore, the two guys on the East Coast, the two governors there. If I ever had a chance to meet them and have dinner with them, I would do it because I like both of those guys, even though I probably disagree 100% with everything.
Yeah, Cory Booker's a senator, by the way. So,
yeah.
Yep. So
I said governor. Yeah, you're right.
But
senator.
I mean, I don't know much about Wes Moore at all, but I actually enjoy sitting around and talking to people with whom I disagree, if they're willing to talk. But the others just want to shout and yell and whatever. Like I said, Wesley Bell was at Rachel at my wedding. He attended with, and so Rachel, when she was at Lindenwood University, when she was at Hammond Institute, she did a lot of work with the folks at Ferguson trying to help rebuild and stabilize that area. So, I mean, I don't know Wesley well, but I know him. Again, disagree with him on a whole lot of stuff, but it's one of those, it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right. So the latest, let me grab my news copy here on this. The story that came out here. Oh, here it is. And it's interesting because all the attention is on Kamala Harris for all the wrong reasons. All the attention is on the Biden administration for all the wrong reasons if you're a Democrat. So I saw a news story. Records reveal the former president, Donald Trump, donated thousands of dollars to Kamala Harris's reelection campaign when she was running for California Attorney General.
Oh my, that was years ago.
Yeah. So it was a
that?
$5,000 check in 2011.
Okay.
And then he gave another $1,000 in the next, I guess, in February 2013. And Ivanka Trump gave Harris's reelection campaign $2,000 in 2014. And so one of the spokespeople for Donald Trump, Stephen Chang, I think his name is, how you pronounce it, he told People magazine that as a businessman, Trump supported Harris in order to, quote, play the game. He's quoted as saying, at that time, 15 years ago, President Trump was a global businessman and knew how to play the game and win the game with corrupt politicians like Kamala Harris.
Wow.
Okay, let me tell you why that's a really terrible soundbite.
Yeah.
Because you basically just said, listen, these politicians are corrupt, and so we got corrupt with him, and he donated, and you know what? He was better at it.
Yeah.
That's not the soundbite you want.
That's probably not the way to.
And there's no mention in there that he was a Democrat back then.
Right. Yeah.
That's the reason why he was doing it. So, everything was fine back then, but as soon as he crossed the aisle, all of a sudden he's Hitler.
Which is amazing to me because you remember all this when he announced that he was running in the 2016 election. I remember being surprised. Well, first of all, I was one of those who thought, well, this will be comedic, but this isn't a serious thing.
Oh,
But
sure.
Me and like everybody else was wrong about that. Because I'm like, ooh, Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, and I was going back and forth between those two. But the visceral reaction to Donald Trump in was it early 2016 announced, late 2015, early 2016, whenever it was he announced the visceral reaction. And I remember being really surprised by that because of that entire primary pool of candidates. Donald Trump was by far the least conservative. And I'm like, he's more like you, but you're going after him. And then they kind of created the monster that they view him as because he punches back. And so they attacked, and then he decided they're his enemy. And we have the last, 8 years.
I wouldn't be surprised if they look into J.D. Vance's past. They'll find some contribution to a Democrat, because he was totally anti-Trump and anti-Republican back in the day before he saw the light and decided to come over to Trump.
So, if that's seeing the light, yeah.
I
mean, some people it is, some people it isn't, All right. We got to talk about this situation with Kimberly Cheadle in this hearing. Let's do that around 6:20 here. She just, and it's one thing, a lot of these hearings, it's like, one side's on your side, the other side is attacking you. That's usually how it works in Washington, D.C. She walked into it getting blasted from both sides of the aisle.
Well, hopefully everybody's recognizing, hey, you know, if the Secret Service can just decide to not protect me one day, I probably should have. Yeah, I actually have skin in the game, like my skin, my actual skin.
Yeah, the actual skin.
My actual skin.
They don't put R's or D's on bullets.
Yeah, you're right.
Jeez, we'll talk about that in just a here.
I see your indifference. Stop right now before you blow us all.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Get up, get up.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
Digging without having your underground utilities marked is like driving with your eyes closed. It's dangerous and irresponsible. Before you break ground, contact Missouri 811 online or simply call 811 to request a utility locate 3 working days before starting. Missouri 811 will coordinate with the utility companies who will clearly mark their lines so you can avoid the hazards. Requesting a locate is smart, and it's the law. Safety is in your hands. Every dig, every time. This ad is brought to you by Missouri 811.
In the fast-paced world of digital marketing, making connections is a challenge for any business. But what if we told you there is a place where connections aren't just made, they're grown? Meet 2060 Digital, your premier Google partner and top-tier digital agency. We don't just follow trends, we set them. At 2060 Digital, we're not just another agency, we're your strategic partner. We dive deep into your challenges and develop solutions that drive measurable outcomes. Ready to elevate your digital presence with campaigns that connect? Google 2060 Digital today.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Andy Define here with the Next Gen, all new time this Sunday at 8 p.m. Now pour up a hot cup of coffee and tune back into the Mike Ferguson Show.
All right, hours on television, the entire world assuming you are incompetent. Politicians from both sides confirming that assumption. Be glad that you are not Kimberly Cheadle. That's the general.
Oh, yeah.
All right. By the way, we're going to keep covering the developments in the presidential race throughout the morning, but let's not forget the policies they're pushing. A lot of times we'll get caught up in the drama. There's a lot of drama.
Oh, yeah.
But the things that actually affect our lives is if they get elected, what are the policies they push? We're going to review the Republicans at 6:35, as the kids would say. How do you spell that?
AIGHT.
This is what we talk about at 6:20 on News Talk STL. Because we're the smart show. All right, Kimberly Cheadle's horrible, no good, lousy day. It was like, what, a 4-hour hearing?
Yeah.
Our boss, Jeff, was just glued to his TV set in his office.
Riveted.
I started to go in there. I had a question for him about something, and he's in there, and Jim's in there, and I mean, they're just like, can you believe this?
It's kind of amazing.
It really kind of was. All right. Secret Service director, among other things, they hammered her on the the Republicans more than Democrats hammered her on the DEI nonsense. And then, of course, everybody was hammering her on the how on earth did you have this colossal of a failure?
Yeah.
And I think that she thought that she walked in and just admitted up front, we failed. And then everybody was going to go, okay, well, let's talk about how we can hug you and make it better. And that did not happen.
It seems that way because you would think. I mean, she walked in with a big old binder, right? I guess it was all blank sheets because she had she had no answers to anything.
I don't mean to laugh, but yeah,
yeah,
that was the thing. Is, I mean, for instance, here's an example. Okay, so I've got a couple clips of Representative Nancy Mace questioning her. Now, Nancy Mace is, she's definitely right of center. She's not the most conservative member by any means, but my goodness, in situations like this, is there anybody else in the House that you would want?
Bit of a bulldog
questioning
here.
her? Yeah,
it was
exactly.
interesting.
Okay, so I normally would never play a clip that is this long. It's like it's over a minute long, which normally I would do. But I'm telling you, you're not going to want to miss it. Once it starts, you're gonna want to hear the rest of this. So
it's solid listening.
Here it is. Okay, so here she is going after Kimberly Cheadle.
Both sides of the aisle today have asked for your resignation. Would you like to use my 5 minutes to draft your resignation letter? Yes or no?
No, thank you.
Was this a colossal failure?
It was a failure.
Yes or no? Was it a colossal failure is the question. Yes or no?
I have admitted this is a terrible.
This is a yes or no series of questions. Was this a colossal failure? Yes or no?
Yes.
Was this tragedy preventable? Yes or no?
Yes.
Has the Secret Service been transparent with this committee?
Yes.
Would you say the fact that we had to issue a subpoena to get you to show up today as being transparent? Yes or no?
I have always been
yes
eager
or
to
no.
come
You didn't
and
want to
talk
answer
to
the question.
committee.
We had to issue a subpoena to get you to show up today. That is not transparent, by the way. You stated earlier, Secret Service is not political. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Would you say leaking your opening statement to Punchbowl News, Politico's Playbook, and Washington Post several hours before you sent it to this committee as being political? Yes or no?
I have no idea how my statement got out.
Well, that's bullshit. So, Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record articles by Punchbowl News, Political Playbook, Washington Post, all done at 5:24 a.m., 6:12 a.m., 6:34 a.m., a solid 3 to 4 hours before this committee got your statement.
Without objection to ordered.
Okay, she's just getting started there. I mean, did she have a little bit of the mean girl thing going on? Sure.
Little bit,
You
but
know.
justified, I think.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, there's more.
Oh my goodness. All I can think of was, man, what a proud graduate of the Citadel.
Yeah.
She is, man. That was awesome.
Oh, but I'm not done. There's more.
Okay. I'm ready.
Please continue.
Here's a little bit more. This one's not quite as long, but here's Nancy Mace still tearing into Kimberly Cheadle.
Is the Secret Service fully cooperating with our committee?
Yes.
Okay, you say you're fully cooperating with this committee. On July 15th, this committee sent you a list of demands of information that we wanted. Has the Secret Service provided this committee a complete list of all law enforcement personnel that were there that day? Have you done that? Have you provided a list to the Oversight Committee? Yes or no?
I will have to get back to you on that.
That is a no. Have you provided all audio and video recordings in your possession to this committee, as we asked on July 15th? Yes or no?
I would have to get back to you.
That is a no. You're full of shit today. You're just being completely dishonest.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, is she wrong?
But yeah, to talk about all the binders full of apparently nothing. I'll have to get back to you. You knew what they were going to ask.
Right.
And you still came in with no information.
This is Biden's prepared questions.
Yeah.
You had a list of all the things that you're supposed to know when you come into the room, and apparently nobody did any research. You didn't talk to any of your subordinates to say, "Hey, I need this information by this time because I'm going to be speaking in front of freaking Congress."
You know, Byron Donalds, we had a soundbite a little bit earlier where he said we don't necessarily need the impersonal information about every single agent, but some Republicans and some Democrats are saying, yeah, we do. And you may say, well, why are they wanting that? The Secret Service, you don't want to dox them or anything like that. Okay, but what they're probably looking to do is to say, is this person an actual trained Secret Service agent who is qualified to be on a presidential detail, especially within that first ring? Or is this somebody who is doing, something completely unrelated at another agency within the Department of Homeland Security. That's my guess as to what they're actually looking for.
Hey, if there's a major failure at any sort of organization, you want to know who was involved.
Right?
Was everybody there? Was everybody doing their job? Who was qualified to be there, and who maybe was not? All of that is pertinent information. I don't know why you would want to skip out on providing it unless you're trying to hide something.
And I think they probably do, especially the Republicans, want to know who were the 3 young women who were in a place where they were supposed to protect the former president of the United States and were clearly out of their element and were not there. Who were they? So they can find out, were these people assigned to something they should not have been assigned to?
Right.
Especially the one is a national laughing stock right now.
Couldn't holster her weapon.
Yeah.
Just constantly looking around, not scanning the area, but in confusion
Right.
and she completely misunderstanding the situation.
And this may be somebody who was never trained to do this, was never supposed to be there, and this may not actually be her fault.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, here's the thing: if you're an analyst, if you're an analyst for the Secret Service and you're supposed to be looking at counterfeit bills or something like that,
right?
And then they give you a firearm and say, okay, firearm and sunglasses and a earpiece, and they say, okay, I want you to stand near this guy during this thing. It's like, okay, yeah, I guess I can stand near. And then it hits the fan. That's what I saw is pretty much what I would expect to happen if you took somebody off a desk and put them into the field.
Right. Yep. All right. Congressman Pat Fallon also had a few choice words. He was not as composed as Nancy Mace was. He just tore into her.
I believe your horrifying ineptitude and your lack of skilled leadership is a disgrace. Your obfuscating today is shameful, and you should be fired immediately and go back to Garden Doritos. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Chair recognizes Ms. Lee from.
So
go back to Garden Doritos. Now, to be fair, and then one of our listeners said this, Doritos are an important
I said
aspect.
that.
Oh, was that you? Okay,
that was me.
Okay,
I'm like, hey, Doritos are important.
They are.
I want somebody competent guarding the Doritos.
That's true. I mean, chip security is a major national concern.
I mean, if our Doritos supply is at risk, I don't want Kimberly Cheadle in charge.
Oh gosh, no.
Of the Doritos. I mean, especially the Cool Ranch ones.
Oh, you're a Cool Ranch fan.
Yeah.
I'm no, not sure for me.
Well, that's just more for me.
Okay.
I like those too, but that's just more for me.
There you go.
Again, back to us being the smart show. Okay, but here's the thing is with this hearing, and it was for what, 4 hours, over 4 hours of that.
It was just that over
Right.
and over and over again. It's like, hey, answer our question. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that. You're an idiot and you should be fired. That's basically
I'll have to get back to you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the back and forth.
I mean, the best thing that Kimberly Cheadle could do now, one of the best things she could do, she did. This was a massive failure.
Right.
But if she thought that answer was going to make everybody go, oh, okay, well, I guess we just need to sort out how much funding do you need to have another one, not have another one. No, that's not how that works. We're demanding, and our representatives are demanding, whether you're Republican or Democrat, saying, how could this possibly have happened? And then the answers will have to get back to you. I don't know. Well, what kind of intelligence are you an expert at if you can't look in your own records and tell us, how did that building not get swept?
Yeah.
How did that building not get secured? How was there a notification? And we now know that the shooter was identified as a possible threat 9 minutes before Donald Trump even went onto the stage. So somebody within the organization was aware that there was a possible threat. They didn't necessarily know that he even had the rifle, but they saw that he had that while Donald Trump was on the stage, but they knew there was a possible threat because they saw that he had the rangefinder and the scope 9 minutes before, and they still did not stop their protectee from walking into an open air target area, literally 150, 140 yards from where the shooter ended up being.
I thought it was very interesting. Last night, I heard a conversation, Jack Posobiec and Tucker Carlson, and Poso had a lot more information that he shared that she didn't even come close to sharing. And you listen to them. It's a great podcast. So if folks want to look it up, it's Tucker Carlson's podcast from yesterday afternoon. And Posobiec just lit right into her and gave a bunch of information, especially the lack of communication between the agents and the local police department. So many other things that went on that really make you scratch your head.
That's where there is, and in Posobiec, I'm always cautious with. You never know when he's full of it, but he gets some things right and other things he's just. Yeah.
Well, he's a Pennsylvania native. He grew up in that area, so
yeah. But he's but what's zeroing in on that is true because they tried to throw the local law enforcement under the bus, saying, "Well, they were supposed to sweep that area." Local law enforcement saying, "We didn't know where the area was," and guess what? When it doesn't happen, that's on you as the Secret Service. You are in charge. If there is a breakdown in communication, that's what it sounds like. There was a massive breakdown in communication. Guess whose fault that is? It's not the local folks. They take their assignments from the Secret Service.
By the way, as far as I understand, all that's written down.
Yeah,
the security plan is written down previously, right? So it's on somebody's computer.
Well in advance.
Print it out.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't that in the binder? Why wasn't the timeline? Right. These are things that all the questions that I think we asking about this thing. You should know within 2 days of the event, let alone a week.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
10 days today. Hard to believe.
It's amazing. All right, let's go back to actually what happens if the Republicans win the House, the Senate, the White House. What are the policies they're pushing? Well, we got David Williams from the Taxpayer Protection Alliance, conservative, assessing the good, the bad, the ugly of what the Republicans agreed to. Let's talk about that right around 6:35.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. The Vic Porcelli Show.
We might not have much time for Play Me Some Biden. We don't know how long Joe's sticking around, so we'll do Play Me Some Biden Tuesday at 9:25.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. There is a chance for a spot shower storm as early as this morning and continuing through the afternoon. They're driven by the heat of the day, so after sunset, the chance for rain will decrease. Now, temperatures stay near 87 degrees, a little bit of cloud cover out there, and at times it's going to feel noticeably humid. We fall into the 70s overnight, and then tomorrow, looking at temperatures near 90 degrees. And that's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
For over 2 decades, Joe Brazel has served St. Charles County with passion and dedication. As your county councilman, Joe has championed smart growth with Proposition S, protected our veterans by stopping military funeral protests, stood against excessive high-density housing, and supported the 2030 Master Plan for controlled infrastructure. Joe Brazel, a true patriot working for you.
I'm Joe Brazel, running for St. Charles County Council, District 2, vote August 6th.
Paid for by Citizens for Joe Brazel, Mike Summers, Treasurer.
Old man winter in the rearview mirror. Warmer weather here. Time to call Hanson's Tree Service. 636-379-1830. 24/7 at hansonstree.com. This is the perfect time to spruce up and beautify your landscape beds. When you purchase organic mulch in bulk from Hanson's, you save on price, time, and incredibly convenient. Tons of commercial and residential tree care services as well. Grinding and land clearing, plant health care, and more. 636-379-1830. hansonstree.com. hansonstree.com.
Man, what a great party you're throwing here. This wasp nest is great.
Yeah, man, we got about 70 wasps in here.
Too bad we can't fit any more wasps in here. It looks like they're having fun outside, stinging all the kids. Oh, man, who just pulled up?
Oh, no, it's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They seem to kill every one of my parties.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Tim Jones here with Dr. Pat Fader of Comprehensive Chiropractic. Doc, I hear you all have a new treatment program for everyone's chronic knee pain.
Tim, that's right. We are helping patients with chronic knee pain by addressing the root cause of their condition.
And what makes your program so unique?
Well, Tim, many programs focus on just one component of the problem, the structural component. Our program focuses on the metabolic and neurological component to complete the picture and improve our patients' outcomes. We get to the root cause of what is driving inflammation in a person's body and address it directly.
For your chronic knee pain and more, visit cchiropractic.com. All information, make an appointment at cchiropractic.com. TaxpayerProtectionAlliance.com.
Conservative talk for St. Louis.
It's your patriotic rights and duty. The government needs to step up and do its job.
This is News Talk STL.
It's well-balanced conversation.
News, analysis, opinion.
Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
Obviously, we just had the Republican National Convention. Coming up is going to be the Democratic National Convention. And while to some degree these conventions are essentially really expensive coronation parties for their presidential nominees, there are other things that happen, like the policy platforms. And what does this party stand for? Because they're actually also trying to promote people running for governor, running for U.S. Senate, running for the House, running for the state legislature all throughout the country. And they try to have a platform that says, this is what we stand for. The Republicans tweaked a number of things this past week and a half or so regarding their platform. What's good? What's bad? If you're a conservative, what should you make of it? I'm Mike Ferguson. I am joined by David Williams from the Taxpayer Protection Alliance. This is kind of all over the map, David. We're not going to have time to get through all of them, but you have kind of broken them down good, bad, ugly. And when it comes to free markets, when it comes to taxpayer protection, there's a couple of good things that are being pushed in by the incoming Trump campaign and by the party itself. Let's at least start with the good. What do you like from what you've seen?
Yeah, there are some good things that are coming out of the Republican Party, and we really need to amplify those because the Democrats, the last number of years have really gone the opposite direction, especially when it comes to energy independence. I mean, this is critical for the country, right? It is more oil exploration. The Keystone XL pipeline, that was one of the first things that President Biden did was he canceled that. And this was going to bring hundreds of thousands of barrels of oil into this country a day. I mean, this was going to be a game changer for this country to be energy independent. And not only to keep prices low, which obviously is critical for consumers, right? You want prices low, but these were really good paying jobs that they were producing. We're talking about starting at 6 figures. So this was good for the economy, good for consumers. And, this is at the top of the list of the Republicans, and what they're doing good is bringing this back and talking about energy independence. And really, I also like them taking a shot at electric vehicles and the subsidies with electric vehicles. I mean, tens of billions of dollars a year at the federal level, at the state level. There's subsidies for EVs. And what I'm saying is, I don't care if someone buys an electric vehicle. I don't want to finance it. I don't want to be the person that's financing someone else's car, quite frankly, whether it's electric or non-electric. And that's what's happening in this country is so much taxpayer money is going towards electric vehicles. So their energy platform is super, super strong. And I'm really stoked about that.
Okay, real quick follow-up to that. When you look at the problems we have in our economy right now, you've got obviously inflation. And so you could say the stimulus overspending under both the Biden and Trump administration could have something to do with that. The inflation, basically, your dollar doesn't buy as much stuff as before. But when you look at other aspects of it, how much of it can you lay at the feet of that Keystone decision, basically day one that you just mentioned on the Biden administrations?
Oh, so much of it, right? Because when you have to depend on other countries for your oil, it's really their price structure you're depending upon. So whether they cut production, and listen, that's what they do. And we've seen this, we've seen the headlines, right? Is that OPEC is cutting production. That means prices are going up. We need control of our own production. And that's what the Keystone XL, that's what more permitting, more exploration, that's what it does. And it really makes the rest of the world almost, we don't need the rest of the world. And listen, I'm not an isolationist, but I kind of am when it comes to energy. I would like to be able to produce our own energy in this country. And we have the ability to do this. And it really would have tamped down a lot of the inflation over the years. I think, gasoline, I think the prices were like 21%. That was their inflation rate over the past 4 years. So yeah, it's a critical piece of it.
All right, let's move on to the bad. We are talking with David Williams from the Taxpayer Protection Alliance. And the first thing that you all have listed is actually something that's been kind of populist in his claim with Donald Trump. And that has to do with, tax cuts. And which conservative doesn't like tax cuts? But this is the one on tipped income. David, I want people to get a tax cut. What's the issue with this one? I think I know what you're going to say, and I agree.
Well, let's give everyone a tax cut.
Yes.
I mean, I think that if you're looking at tax cuts, is you don't just single one group of people out and say, yes, we're going to give them a tax cut, unless I know it's going to help tipped workers, right? I'm not denying that, but give everyone a tax cut. But also look at the IRS and what the IRS is doing. The IRS has been weaponized, beyond recognition almost. The IRS has this direct file program where they're now doing your returns for you. They're filling out your returns. But getting back to the, taxing these tips, again, this is a populist move, right? This is going to resonate with some people, but that means other people won't be able to get a tax cut. So why not, a tax cut for all, man?
I completely agree with that. We're visiting with David Williams from Taxpayer Protection Alliance, reviewing some of the aspects of the new Republican national platform here. Now, you also brought up something regarding home ownership and the incentives involved with this. Is a little bit complicated, but is there a Cliff's Notes version as to what we should be aware of, in your opinion?
Well, let's look at what Joe Biden just did. He announced that he's going to give people money for housing, right? Whether it's a down payment. What that does, that causes inflation in the housing market. Is you don't just give people money. We saw this during the pandemic, where you give people money for unemployment. Inflation went out of control. What you need to do is look for other solutions, is to open up more land for housing, to have less restrictive, land use. And that's what we want out of the Republican Party, out of all parties. We don't want, special tax breaks for people, and again, it's overall tax breaks, not, specific tax breaks, but also you have to open up this land. So we want more housing. But the problem is, they think it's about demand. No, it's about supply. You open up the supply of housing to folks, and that's why we're a little frustrated with this part of the plank.
And also moving on to kind of the ugly part here. And this, I think, is a critical shift in what we're seeing in not just the Republican Party, but I think to some degree the conservative movement, what I'm calling kind of a big government conservatism, which I personally am concerned about. This has to do with our trade policy and protectionism, and Donald Trump, using tariffs and things like that. So essentially, we're not really talking about a trade war per se, but part of the ugly that you have listed is that trade policy approach that we're seeing from not just the Trump campaign, but also the Republican Party, which is following his design on that.
Yeah, and these are tariffs, and both candidates, Trump and Biden, have embraced tariffs. I expect that from the Democrats. I don't expect that from Republicans, because this should be about free trade. And what happens is, when you institute tariffs of any kind, you're increasing the cost of those products, because companies don't pay tariffs, companies don't pay taxes, consumers do. It's passed on to the consumers. And what we're going to see is we are going to see higher prices. Earlier, you mentioned inflation. This is a driver of inflation. Whenever you increase prices, no matter what the government policy is, that's what happens. And I remember, and I forget who this scholar was, but a scholar once said, why are we asking permission from the government to trade with another country? Why does the government have to give us permission to do this? And I mean, it's a great point, because if we want to buy something from another country, we should be able to do that without the burden of a 25% tariff. And it's not helping American manufacturing, because these tariffs have been in place for decades. And we're not seeing that it's really helping any sort of American manufacturing. And quite frankly, there are some things that just can't be made here in this country. And you're putting a tariff on those products, and it's making it more expensive for consumers.
All right, I've got less than a minute here. Let me ask a quick follow-up on that. And if the tariffs go too high, some people will celebrate. Great, we're not going to be able to ship them in. So we have to make them themselves here. But at some point, do we risk cutting off the supply altogether of commodities or even necessities?
We will absolutely cut off supply. And let's say it would take 6-10 years for that product to be made in this country. Well, then we're going to have no supply in this country, and we're going to be cut off from the other supply. And listen, this is a Republican Party that's in a bit of transition right now. And I just hope that they embrace free market ideals moving forward, that they look at that, government is the problem. And that's where what they need to address, and going after agencies and all of the different, the agencies are going after private businesses, and that needs to stop.
All right. And we learn more about your good, bad, and ugly list where?
We're at protectingtaxpayers.org.
Great. We'll talk to you again soon, David. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. There's actually a lot more that they wrote about on the website. Like David said, it is protectingtaxpayers.org. They've got their good, their bad, the ugly of the GOP platform, the new one. And this is dealing with economic and trade and things like that. And you know what? I understand that there's a lot of people right now, especially in the MAGA part of the Republican Party, that are all for, they're calling it America First trade policy, but it's really protectionism. And there's a lot of people that are on board with that. I get the emotional appeal. I just think it's wrong. I think David's right on that. What do you think? Let's talk. 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
At the end of a dream, if you know what I mean, when the mist just starts to clear.
News, analysis, opinion.
You know, they're literally taking the Constitution and putting it in a paper shredder.
News Talk STL.
On August 6th, your vote will shape our community's future. Introducing Representatives John Simmons and Kyle Marquardt, two candidates with starkly different records. John Simmons, a staunch conservative, has consistently cut taxes and defended parents' rights for education choice. He believes in limited government and safeguarding our privacy. Simmons even championed legislation to secure our elections, ensuring integrity at every step. In contrast, Kyle Marquardt voted to expand welfare and increase government spending, and also supported invasive, warrantless government drone searches. When it comes to protecting your rights and hard-earned money, the choice is clear. John Simmons is not just making promises, he's delivered real results. It's time to make your voice heard in the Republican primary. Vote John Simmons, the representative with the proven conservative voting record. Paid for by Nova PAC, James Murphy, Treasurer.
Hey, Columbo here for the great cleaning pros at Zero Res. Summertime in St. Louis means barbecues, graduation parties, and spending time with friends and family. And Zero Res knows how important it is to have your home as clean and healthy as possible for your loved ones. So they have an amazing summer offer for you. Book a cleaning in July and mention the Columbo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129 and a 4th room free. Just mention the Columbo special when you call 314-474-2020 or when you book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at Stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
All right, Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle gets humiliated on national television. We got more coverage of
Repeatedly.
that. Yeah. Joe Biden says he is going to finish his term.
He says via what now?
He says he's going to finish his term.
No, but via phone. He didn't address the nation.
It was like a Zoom call to like his campaign workers.
Did we see him?
He was on like the call.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll see.
All right.
We'll see. We'll see. All right. And hundreds of local workers walk off the job. Yeah, that happened. All right. It is 6:50 right now. I got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Stel Ponticus here. I'm Mike Ferguson, of course. And my cord just came out of my computer. All right. Let's see here. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle testified before the House Oversight Committee on Monday. Obviously, this was about the attempted assassination of Donald Trump and the massive failures in security that allowed it to happen. Congressman Byron Donalds, Republican out of Florida, as you know, was on the Ingram Angle on Fox discussing that and his frustration with the fact that Kimberly Cheadle just constantly refused to answer direct questions.
You don't have to give us the names of specific agents, but you can sit there and say, we were alerted at this time, and here's the flow of information as it got down to the president's core detail team, which is with him basically all the time. She couldn't even give us that level of information.
And Democrats are also demanding accountability. It's not just Republicans that are doing this. This is not a partisan thing. Democrats on the Hill also demanding that she either be fired or that she resign.
Representative Ro Khanna became the second Democrat to call for the resignation of Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle on Monday as she testified before the House Oversight and Accountability Committee. He told Cheadle, quote, "If you have an assassination attempt on a president, a former president, or a candidate, you need to resign." He stressed that the Secret Service should transcend politics so as to have the confidence of independents, Democrats, Republicans, progressives, and conservatives. Bob Hagner reporting.
One of the very few times that we are talking about both sides seeing the issue for what it actually is, or at least appearing to see the issue for what it actually is.
I'm really glad to see this type of bipartisanship. This is one of the few areas where I like to see the Democrats and Republicans working together.
Yeah, because this is more permanent. This is bigger than any one particular moment in time in politics. All right, the Associated Press. We're going to talk about this at 7:05 here. Associated Press reporting the Vice President Kamala Harris has enough delegate votes to secure the Democratic nomination for president at their convention next month, which means the convention is going from must-see TV to it's going to be another convention.
Right.
So far, there are no announced opponents that have emerged, and the Harris campaign is now vetting possible running mates. Multiple reports say that Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is reported to be on that short list.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. See, I did see him come out to endorse her, and we were amusing because of his delay in supporting her. You know what was going on there with the Illinois machine. So it would make sense if they were kind of setting him up as the number two, because then he could raise his profile. Because Kamala isn't winning this election, by the way, guys.
Right.
She's not. So everybody else waiting in the wings is going to come through for 2028.
Because you could be the heir apparent for the Democrats. And what would J.B. Pritzker bring to the table? A whole lot of money.
Yeah, that's it.
He brings that, and then of course she would get blamed for the loss, and assuming that she loses, and then he would be set up to be the next in line. And would he be more marketable? Do they think that he would be more marketable than a Gavin Newsom type? Because the far left wants a Gavin Newsom type.
That's true.
Now, J.B. Pritzker is basically as fringe to the left, but they're wondering if, like, maybe I'm guessing a Midwesterner, could sell these insane, horrible, just absolutely evil policies better than a guy from the elitist left coast.
Right, because he could pretend to be a man of the flyover country,
right?
By being from Illinois.
Of course, he's flying over it himself in his private jet.
True.
So, that's how it goes. All right. President Biden calls into his campaign headquarters in Wilmington, Delaware, where Vice President Kamala Harris flew to speak to the staffers at that campaign headquarters. And this is where Joe Biden says he is going to finish his term.
I won't be on the ticket, but I'm still going to be fully engaged. I've got 6 months left in my presidency. I'm determined to get as much done as I possibly can, both foreign policy and domestic policy.
Yeah, we'll see if he finishes his term.
I remember during COVID, when he first got diagnosed with COVID, he did an entire sort of proof of life video. You remember that? Why haven't we seen him? I mean, look, I'm not doing the conspiracy theory thing, but I want to see the leader of the freaking free world right now, who just recently said that, I'm not fit to run for re-election. It's not right.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't say he wasn't fit. He just said he's not going to.
True.
Yeah,
true.
I mean,
you are correct.
Yeah,
he wasn't specific about the reason why he's stepping back.
We all know he's not fit.
For re-election. Exactly. Yes.
The whole world knows he's not fit to run for re-election.
That's true.
But
That's true.
So, I mean, they're still promising that there's going to be some kind of address to the nation later this week.
All right. I guess.
Because he's got the COVID. He's got a cold, Gabe.
Yeah. Again, for the third time. I think this is the third time he's had COVID.
He just needs one more booster. Then this wouldn't happen.
Don't say anything about the vaccine. That's how we get kicked off of YouTube.
Again.
Oh,
we did get kicked off there again recently.
Yeah, we did. We were off for a week.
Oh yeah.
That was Larry. Larry won that one.
I thought it might have happened again when I made the comment about, hey, Joe, if you need some ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, I've got a bunch of it at home. I'd be glad to
Wait, but you have what at home?
I got some ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine.
Oh, I don't think you can say ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine on on the radio on YouTube, and because otherwise they'll cancel you for saying hydroxychloroquine. Yeah, ivermectin and
hydroxychloroquine. You can't take those as a treatment for COVID because
pharmaceutical
treatment. It's not approved for those things.
No,
so you can't.
YouTube has not approved that.
It's medical misinformation to say that would probably do him better than the vaccine that didn't protect him from getting COVID this third time.
Right, exactly. Or, I mean, I probably shouldn't say that when I was literally on that novel virus and I was in the hospital when it actually was a thing, that they gave me hydroxychloroquine.
They in
the hospital.
That's an off-label use. You can. I think you can sue them according to the administration. I think.
And that I started feeling better within 36 hours.
You can't say that.
No, I won't. I will not say.
All right.
And it happened for me too. It was within 2 days. I was back to normal.
We're not supposed to say that.
Okay.
Okay. So we're not going to say that.
Okay.
No, definitely not.
Okay. Workers at the Lear assembly plant in Wentzville now on strike. That means about 460 people from local 282 walked off the job about 7 hours ago. The Lear plant makes seats for several vehicles, including the GM plant nearby. And by the way, the GM plant has now run out of the new seats for the assembly. So we'll see how long they stay up and running. The union wants more pay, increased retirement benefits, and for the company to cover more insurance costs for workers.
And there's the rub.
Yep. All right. Missouri primary election is officially underway as of whenever the local election board opens up their offices. No excuse. Early voting starts today. Will continue through August 5th, which is, of course, one day before the actual primary election day. Now, per Missouri law, you must have a government-issued ID to vote. Check with your county clerk or your local election board for details and locations.
When it's important to you,
They always discuss the most important topics.
it's on News Talk STL.
I'm focused on making sure President Trump and J.D. Vance are our next president and vice president.
Our president, Joe Biden, wanted to be here today. He is feeling much better and recovering fast.
News, analysis, opinion.
The Secret Service's solemn mission is to protect our nation's leaders. On July 13th, we failed.
Number one for live and local conservative talk. 1019 and 94.1. News Talk STL.
St. Louis is all about sports, and now is your chance to take home a one-of-a-kind Cardinals jersey. On Saturday, July 27th, the Birds on the Bat host the Washington Nationals, and that night, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will receive a Cardinals basketball jersey presented by Air National Guard. Don't miss your chance to add this unique jersey to your collection. That's the Cardinals basketball jersey, Saturday, July 27th. Get your tickets today at cardinals.com/promotions.
Hola amigos, this is Cardinals broadcaster Polo Asensio, inviting you to join us on Sunday, July 28th, when the Cardinals host the Washington Nationals. On this day, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will take home a Cardinals polo. No, not me. A polo shirt featuring an STL all over print design. Thanks to Busey Bank. This is the first promo of its kind, so it's one you don't want to miss. Get your tickets today at cardinals.com/promotions.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jeremy House. Milwaukee is a destination for Vice President Kamala Harris, who is making her first visit to a battleground state after locking up enough support from Democratic delegates to win her party's nomination to challenge former President Donald Trump. The visit comes 2 days after President Biden dropped his re-election bid. University of Virginia presidential historian Barbara Perry says not many leading vice presidents have won their own White House bid.
Vice presidents have not fared well. But this is, again, an entirely different setting, and I'm not indicating that Kamala Harris, presuming she will be the nominee of her party, will not do well. But the historical pattern has not been good.
Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance used his first solo campaign appearances to take aim at President Biden and Vice President Harris. The venues in Ohio and Virginia were intended to play up Vance's populist appeal across small-town America. Democrats as well as Republicans are demanding accountability in the aftermath of the assassination attempt on former President Trump.
Representative Ro Khanna became the second Democrat to call for the resignation of Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle on Monday as she testified before the House Oversight and Accountability Committee. He told Cheadle, quote, "If you have an assassination attempt on a president, a former president, or a candidate, you need to resign." He stressed that the Secret Service should transcend politics so as to have the confidence of independents, Democrats, Republicans, progressives, and conservatives. Bob Agnew reporting.
World shares are mixed, and Chinese shares saw their worst day in 6 months as investors showed scant enthusiasm for Beijing's latest policy moves. On Wall Street, Dow futures are ahead by 23 points. NASDAQ futures are off 15.5. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. Call now and find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-504-8790. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here. It's always nice to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now. 800-504-8790. You'll find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now. 800-504-8790.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center, may not be available
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. There is a chance for a spot shower storm as early as this morning and continuing through the afternoon. They're driven by the heat of the day, so after sunset, the chance for rain will decrease. Now, temperatures stay near 87 degrees, a little bit of cloud cover out there, and at times it's going to feel noticeably humid. We fall into the 70s overnight, and then tomorrow, looking at temperatures near 90 degrees. And that's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Senior Memorial. With the average funeral bill being over $9,000, are your loved ones prepared? Call 314-866-8886 or memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents, and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. The city was booming. Unfortunately, St. Louis city streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline. St. Louis City Republicans believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican Pat Curtis, Farber Treasurer.
Here's some expert advice from McGuire Moving and Storage. If you have a home or business move coming up, you need to book now. Most moving companies are booked 6 to 8 weeks out. So call McGuire now, get an on-site estimate, set a date. McGuire has 85 years of experience and just won the Spire Quality Award. I can personally testify McGuire goes above and beyond to help the clients. McGuire Moving and Storage, McGuireMoving.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare you! Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
All right, it's not official, but it's unofficial, official-ish.
Unofficial, official-ish.
It's the best closest I can come to it.
Official like.
It's official like. It's a reasonable facsimile of official.
Okay.
Yeah.
It has a measure of officialness.
That's right. Officialosity.
Yes. Officialositude. That's actually a game I play with my wife where we just are messing with words that way.
And everybody, you're welcome for us taking up the last 60 seconds of your life. All right.
Just having fun.
Don't forget, if you haven't downloaded our app, it is free. It is everywhere. No matter what your whatever your app store is, we are there, and you can take us anywhere and make your phone a radio in your Bluetooth or anywhere you want. Lots of people probably need to hear the truth, so feel free to put us on speaker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a way to win friends and influence people.
Disturb everyone in your immediate vicinity with our lovely dulcet tones.
Go down to Chippewa, just play us out loud.
Yep. Actually, get one of those 80s style boom boxes on your shoulder. And just go to town.
All right. But check that out. Download that. It is completely free, by the way. Okay. So now we've got multiple reports saying that Kamala Harris has secured the delegate votes needed to be the Democratic nominee. So what you have right now, I think, is going to be the Democratic Party saying we cannot have a knockdown drag out at this convention.
Yeah, they want to wrap things up. They want it to be the proper coordination as it was intended to be.
Yeah.
And they certainly don't want to have a private fight out in public.
I don't know that. See, and I'm not sure they're right about that, because I think that if they had the brokered convention with your 2 or 3, national figures or somebody who they want being a national figure, especially somebody who's looking at 2028 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they debated and put their stories out there. I think that they would have had more people pay attention to their convention.
Oh, sure.
I mean, the Republican convention drew more people than they could have ever hoped for. Now, unfortunately, a lot of that was because literally Donald Trump barely escaped with his life from a rally right before that. But the Republicans put on a show.
Oh, they sure did.
The Democrats are not going to be able to compete with that show.
No, it was supremely entertaining. Everybody in there was so dialed in. From all accounts, from the people who have been to these types of things before, it was a completely different energy than what you'd usually get at a convention.
Right. And I've been to some political conventions. I frankly don't really want to go back to a political convention. I will someday, though. I'm sure that I will. But the Democrats are probably going to go back to this convention being the hottest thing on C-SPAN.
Oh, on C-SPAN, yes.
Right.
Okay, C-SPAN 4.
That's right.
It's like ESPN, the Ocho.
That's right. Where at one point I was in a restaurant that had ESPN 14 on or whatever.
Yeah.
They literally had a competitive game of tag.
Yes, with obstacles and everything.
I wish I were making that up.
Nope, that's serious.
And somebody was in that restaurant right there at the bar watching a game of tag.
Well, it's like any other thing. Once you start watching the thing, you're like, oh, what is this? And you realize what it is. Like, really?
Yeah.
And you just kind of sit and watch. Like, oh, is this do they have extra? Like, what are the rules? How did they do?
Mm-hmm.
I can totally see getting caught watching a game of tag.
Well, do you think that's going to be kind of what happens with the Democratic convention?
Well, there may be a measure of the train wreck effect here, but other than that, I can't see people tuning in to be entertained
I
they
think-
were for the Republican.
It could be tag, you're it.
Right. That's basically
You're
it.
the nominee, tag, you're it.
Yeah, it's like congratulations.
It's the wrestling move where they're the one in the ring is getting beat bad, so they're struggling. They're trying to get to the corner. I can almost do it, and then you get the tag, and you come in, and you're ready to go, and then you get slammed into the ropes again yourself. I've seen it before.
So here's what happened: is the AP did a survey of the delegates, the actual people who are delegates.
Okay.
And
the people with the actual influence.
The people who are actually casting the votes. So these are the delegates, the super delegates, everybody that they could track down. And according to the AP, well over the 1,900 whatever delegate votes that are needed to secure the nomination have said, I am committed now to voting for Kamala Harris, which tells me that behind the scenes, what they're doing is we cannot have a fight for this nomination. We've got to settle on somebody. This is who we want to do that. And it's not even that this is who they want. This is who we think we're stuck with. So Kamala Harris, according to the the Harris campaign, which now we don't say the Biden Harris, we say the Harris campaign,
Mhm.
apparently in the first 24 hours raised about $81 million. Now that's nothing to sneeze at. It's a lot of money
Mhm.
in addition to the 90 whatever that was already in there. So
Right.
they're approaching $200 million cash on hand.
Okay. Yeah, that's a big deal. That's the kind
That's
of
a lot.
That's the kind of numbers you actually need to run a
Right.
presidential campaign.
Right.
Right.
Now, I will say this: do not assume this campaign's over.
Oh no.
I mean, don't assume that it is set in stone as to what's going to happen.
There's more in store.
Right.
Certainly.
And all kinds of wild stuff can happen. You know, who knows? I mean, just look at the last week and a half. I mean, you mentioned you're like people are asking, where's Joe Biden? I saw somebody put on Twitter a little bit earlier, and that's like the 9th weirdest thing of the last week. You
Mhm.
know, is that the leader of the free world has ghosted us.
Right. Oh my gosh.
We've literally had a century's worth of history in 1 month.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It feels that way.
It does,
I
doesn't
want
it?
to go back to being boring.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, so now there's multiple reports and people are disputing different elements of it. The Wall Street Journal is saying that the Harris campaign is now vetting Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona. You mentioned him yesterday still. Governor Roy Cooper of North Carolina. Governor Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania. I think Gabe, you may have mentioned him yesterday.
Mhm.
Governor Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan, and Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois, and Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota.
The Shapiro one has come up with has created some interesting takes coming from the left because of the issues with the pro-Palestine wing of their party and how bringing somebody onto the ticket like
Who's
Shapiro,
Jewish.
who is Jewish, would alienate some of their base. There have actually been articles and people discussing that openly. So they're just highlighting it, that the anti-Semitism in their party is significant enough that it could affect the choice for VP. Think about that.
I know. And Pennsylvania is a state that they need
Mhm.
in a huge way. Now, you look at some of the other possible candidates on there. Michigan is a state that they need. Illinois is a state that they have. You know, the Democrats are not going to lose Illinois, which has got to be frustrating for so many people listening to us right now in Southern Illinois as well. But that's just, the way that the machine works right now.
That's how it goes.
Hey, call Rodney and Jen Wallner, 314-810 sold. They're licensed in Illinois. They can sell your home, and then you can come to the Missouri side if you want better representation. But J.B. Pritzker, if you think about it, makes a lot of sense. He was just reelected in 22. So he's not up for election. They don't have to worry about anything in the governor's race there. He just won that seat. So he's got nothing to lose.
Right.
And he's a billionaire and he can bring a lot of money to that campaign.
And he was on the short list of people to potentially replace Biden to begin with. So in this year, which is we'll call this a rebuilding year for the Democrat Party, because they're pretty much I think conceding that they're probably not going to get to the championship. So they're putting their garbage team out, and in the hopes that they can get a number 1 draft pick and to send them to the championship the next season.
I think there's that element of it, but the other element is that they need a candidate to give the younger voters a reason to turn out.
Right.
Because
well, yes.
in 2022, and I think I mentioned this the other day, it was the younger under 30 and under voters who saved the Democrats' backside in the midterm elections. Which is another reason I want to point out. And on Rumble here, Ed is saying, hey, don't get complacent. The Dems want that from the Republicans. Vote, vote, vote. And so that's true, because everybody just assumed, well, not everybody. I was cautioning against it in 22, if you remember, saying, I don't see this red wave happening. I just don't see it. I don't see it in the House. I don't see it in the Senate. And I said on the air, I don't think the Republicans are going to win the Senate. People thought I was nuts. I turned out I was right. I said, I unfortunately predicted a lot of this stuff right. I do think that obviously it is the Republicans to lose, but never underestimate the ability of Republicans to actually do that.
Yeah, when we talked to Jeff Charles from RedState yesterday, he had the same sentiment that the Republican Party for some reason loves to snatch failure out of the jaws of victory. So we need to be able to come together on this and especially just flood the ballot box.
Yeah.
The battle box, as Joe Biden has called it.
So how do you, if you're the Democrat though, how do you try to frame this up? I mean, how do you do this? I mean, you've got a weak candidate.
Yeah.
Even in the Democratic Party, she's never been popular.
Right.
But now they all have to sort of unite. I mean, I'm seeing some shades of Hillary all over again. With Hillary, it was her turn. She lost to Barack Obama. It was her turn.
Right.
The superdelegates made sure of that. They were going to make history with the first female president. And then it turns out that nobody likes her. Even within her own party, they don't like her, but
really
it was
don't.
their duty to support.
Right.
And you see how that worked out with the Democrats. To some degree, I'm seeing a little bit of this with Kamala Harris. I have yet to see any significant number of Democrats go, I am so excited Kamala Harris is going to be the nominee. I just don't see it anywhere. I've got them like on guard looking for ways to accuse people of being racist or misogynistic or whatever, but they're looking for our response to her as opposed to their own support of her.
Yeah. Yeah. They have an interesting situation here where they really need to have the turnout to support the down ticket people, but Harris is just so unpopular.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of unpopular politicians right now.
Mhm.
I mean, on both sides.
Yeah.
And this is part of the frustration. So the Democrats, as much as anything, are battling the idea of people just staying home.
Yes. I guess the only thing that they can do, because you asked, what do the Democrats do here? They just got to focus on Orange Man Bad. That's all they can
do.
That's all they got.
But they have to wait until his ear heals.
Right, because you can't say Orange Man Bad after somebody tried to kill him.
So he's going to have to wear his bandage for as long as he can. Now, I don't know what his ear looks like underneath there.
Well, it's got a hole in it.
It's got
2 centimeter hole.
Yeah. So like the top's still on, but there's a hole.
There's a hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was a slow-mo video where we saw the hole open up.
Yeah.
We actually saw the injury happen in real time. And yeah, it looks like a gigantic, like a gauge piercing. You ever see those, where the guys get the big open? Yeah. So he's maybe he put a ring in it. Seriously, why not? Red, white, and blue ring.
I'll give him $1 myself if he were to do that. All right, going to be a weird one. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got an idea here. 721. I think there's also a sense of just demoralization throughout our country, Republican, Democrat, otherwise.
Yeah,
for both sides. Let's talk about that and what do we do to combat that, because that's bad no matter who you're voting for.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Stop right now. You're gonna blow us all away.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
We'll speak with David Stokes from the Show Me Institute on Quip Trip suing St. Charles. And at 5:20, Dr. Randy Tobler on Biden dropping out.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Liberal mega donors are always looking for new rhinos to do their bidding. And with Adam Schnelting, they found their new star. Adam Schnelting has already backed their radical plan to defund our police. And he skipped countless important conservative votes. Skipped a vote to protect kids from sexually explicit materials in school. And skipped a vote to protect churches from junk lawsuits. It's no wonder Adam Schnelting is bankrolled by Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden's top funders. Bill Cristofanelli is the only leader we can trust to protect our conservative priorities. When radicals tried to defund the police, Bill Cristofanelli passed record funding from Missouri's law enforcement. When Joe Biden left our southern border wide open, conservative Bill Cristofanelli banned sanctuary cities and voted to send Missouri National Guard troops to secure the border. Vote Bill Cristofanelli, the proven conservative, for state senate.
Gladius PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, paid for by Gladius PAC, and is not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
My friend, death is certain. Are you prepared? Larry Connors here. I don't want to scare you, but your funeral plans are an important conversation you need to have with your spouse, family, other loved ones. My friend Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial can help find you an affordable final expense life insurance policy, regardless of your health condition. You could qualify up to $30,000 of lifetime coverage. Life insurance plans with Senior Memorial Also offer living benefits towards hearing and diabetic supplies, access to a 24-hour teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones. Call my friend Benjamin at Senior Memorial and discover your legacy at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
This app is absolutely fantastic.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
It is awesome.
Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Hi, Stan Bongino here, and I'm proud to be on News Talk STL every weekday from 11 to 2. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Dan's been a little animated last day or so with the Secret Service hearing.
Little bit. I mean, yeah. Given the fact that he's kind of aware of how they're supposed to operate and seeing some of the failures here, I imagine he's a little bit lit up.
Oh, yeah, it's his former home team.
Yeah, because he was in the Secret Service.
Yeah.
So really good stuff from 11 to 2 every day. Dan Bongino right here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. All right, I'm just kind of following the rabbit trail here, guys. 314-912-1019. I don't know how many times in the past week I've had somebody say some version of this to me.
Okay.
330 million Americans, 320 million, 340 million, 300 and whatever million Americans. And these are the two we narrowed it down to. I have heard that some version of that. They're like, all these people out there, and the system gives us these two.
Yeah, I've seen it on social media as well.
Right. And so I think there is a demoralization, like for instance, with the attempt on Donald Trump's life, absolutely fired up. Obviously his most supportive and loyal base,
and even people on the fence a little bit.
Yeah, and people on the fence a little bit in the Republican Party. And I think a lot of people who even aren't political see it for the evil that it is.
Yes.
But when you look at the actual candidates, there's a whole lot of people who are saying, I'm the one who's caught in the middle of this personality war.
Right.
Which is what we've turned a lot of our politics into. And so I think there's a lot of people who are demoralized. Do you know what happens when people are demoralized? They don't vote.
That's true.
They stop participating.
That's
they
true.
tune out. And then when that happens, guess what? Those who are in power, the establishment, have much less opposition, and it's a whole lot easier to impose what they want on us. Part of the reason that all of these ads, and don't think for a second that demoralization is something everybody wants to avoid. You want to demoralize the other side.
Yes, that's true.
If you're a Republican candidate, you want your opponent's base demoralized. If you're a Democratic candidate, you want your Republican opponent's base demoralized. So it is not surprising whatsoever that people across the country are already feeling demoralized, even if we know deep down how crucial it is to have this election. And people are focused on the presidential race, which both animates and demoralizes people. But the race for governor, the race for Congress, the race for state representative, the race for all of these other things closer to you, frankly, impact your life more directly and more immediately. And if you get demoralized by the circus at the top of the ticket, you're going to miss out on making a difference. I would argue a bigger difference with the races closer to you.
Absolutely. And I think particularly susceptible to that demoralization are the people in the middle, who they occasionally poke their head out during the wider season, but really only pay closer attention. Their attention grows the closer we get to the election. And of course, that's when, the silly season, as Tim Jones calls it, is at its peak, is closer to the election. And we start getting a lot of the deliberate attempts by one side or the other to demoralize. And I guess when you're caught in the middle, like the people in the middle feel like they are, they feel as though there's no recourse. It's like, well, now, of course, my contention is that because the people in the middle are so disengaged throughout throughout the year, throughout the especially in the off-year elections, they're creating the circumstances to demoralize themselves.
Right. So what do we do about it?
That's a really good,
what do we
that's
do?
a gigantic question.
Right.
And I mean, I would like to say, well, we need to encourage the people in the middle to participate more. But I kind of think that's what we've been trying to do for a long time, and it hasn't worked.
Let me also remind everybody, here's what I think. Whenever I think about this, which I've been thinking about it a lot, is step back and realize that politics should not be your life. I mean, I do this punditry and assessment and news analysis opinion for a living. I have worked in office. I have worked in the high levels in a national campaign. I've done the political stuff. I've worked for think tanks and policy world and all this kind of stuff. But you need to step back and realize that this is just part of your life. This is just part of our community. This is just part of society. And it shouldn't even necessarily be the biggest part. Is it important? Absolutely. But there are things more important. And I think if more people put the politics of it all and the campaigns of it all into the right perspective and into the right compartment in our lives, we would, first of all, appreciate it more. We would be fired up about it more. And we would be able to be more effective when we work in it, when we can open the door, deal with the politics of it, close the door, then go focus on our family, go focus on our social circles, go focus on our faith, go focus on all these other things that frankly should probably be more important than just politics.
Now, I think that message is more for the types who are truly engaged, like the ones we're talking to now, the ones who kind of live and breathe this stuff. They've been believing on a year. Absolutely, they need to kind of step back from politics a little bit. But the people in the middle, they need to step towards the politics.
Right.
And how do you get them who are looking at this crap show to say, okay, now you guys need to pay attention earlier in the year or in the off years.
They need to know that they can make a difference and that they're being heard. But the way to do that is to listen to them. So if somebody is in the mushy middle, you got to engage them. I mean, if somebody is like, on issues where I'm like, oh, be careful what you're asking for with some of the people in the middle, because they're not going to go our way,
Well,
but and I'm not one of those who wants everybody to vote.
Oh gosh,
I've heard people, it's like, I just want everybody to vote. Well, I don't. If you don't bother to learn what's going on or who the people are or what the issues are, please stay home. You're doing a disservice by casting an ignorant vote.
I do want people to be more engaged, though.
That is true. Yeah.
Well, I mean, because think about this. There is a massive swath of Americans who were not aware of how incapacitated Joe Biden was until debate night. Right. And we were like, okay, where have you guys been? Everybody was shocked and appalled, and there were think pieces being written and all these other and people commenting like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with our president? And the rest of us have been here is like, where you guys been for the last 3 years?
They've been overwhelmed by everything else on the internet. People don't know what to believe,
I suppose.
And how do you pick out, okay, well, that I should believe, but all the other stuff from the same side, I don't know what to filter out.
Yeah.
And it's overwhelming, and people tend to have that paralysis by analysis because we're overwhelmed, which is why we're overwhelmed with it.
Maybe
because people want us to react like that. Don't think for a minute that the overwhelming, this morning I get up and I'm looking through, and for some reason on Twitter, there are all these, I'm going to use air quotes here, news sites that I've never heard of. Breaking news, this, that. I've never followed them. I've never subscribed. I've never clicked on them. I don't know why they're in my feed. And they say stuff that I know is garbage, but I spend 10 to 12 hours a day actually working on the actual facts in the news.
Right.
I know it's garbage.
Right.
I know, which influencers and personalities on the left are just full of crap and to ignore. And I know which ones on the right, which are full of crap and to ignore. And hint, they're the ones that don't end up being quoted or you hear the sound bites from here. But I've got to work really hard to filter all of that out.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, it's drinking from a fire hose, trying to find that one little piece that is the cleanest water.
That's true, man. It's tough, especially in these days now, because like you said, drinking from a fire hose, we're being inundated with information. We're in the information age, but the problem is not all of that information is vetted, and it's hard for our brains to process all of it. I don't think we were intended to have access to as much information as we do. But that's the reality, and we somehow have to manage it.
Blues Nut on Rumble here says it used to be easy to get information about the candidates. At one point, the newspapers did actual investigations and then released, published information. Now they're all paid actors. Your site and several others need to get out there so people can be informed. Absolutely, I agree, Blues Nut. Like for instance, I'm getting more information about the candidates for the different down ticket items. There are people who are going to say people just don't care. They're going to tune you out. Well, I think I've got a responsibility to put them on and at least assess the races.
Yes.
In the lieutenant governor's race and the state treasurer's race and attorney general's race and all of those sorts of things, because other media is just simply not doing it. Now, the Democrats, they have a contested primary on the governor's side. I mean, there are people running for U.S. Senate as well. Our audience obviously is far more conservative, but we're following those. We're definitely following the first district between Cori Bush and Wesley Bell.
Oh, yeah.
Neither of them are going to come on the show.
No.
And if I saw Wesley today, we'd get a good handshake. I haven't talked to him in a couple years. I haven't talked to him in a few years, actually. But I'd have no issue going to get a cup of coffee with him. But like I told Stella earlier, he's not going to do that because he works like 14 hours a day. Get some sleep, Wesley.
And his schedule doesn't match ours.
No, that's for sure. You know what happens if you overwork so much? You end up like becoming Tony Colombo.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Where you're drinking Monster energy drinks.
Yeah, and then you can't sleep, and because you can't sleep, you have to drink more Monster.
Right. It's a vicious circle.
Yes.
Now, I don't mean to throw Tony under the bus, but I often steal the animal cracker snacks he has in his office.
Oh, yeah. I think that's what they're for.
Right. But
at least that's what I tell myself when I grab a handful.
He's let them run out. And I don't know how I am supposed to steal his snacks
if he doesn't provide
if he
them.
doesn't have the snacks there for me to steal.
That's a good point.
That's a dilemma.
Yeah.
It is.
Go back to Bear.
I'm not saying I'm disappointed in Tony for running out of snacks for me to steal from him. I'm just saying there aren't any snacks in there for me to steal from him.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. Kimberly Cheadle, director of the Secret Service, on the hot seat yesterday.
Why are we having so much trouble with Kimberly's these days?
It's true. Oh, my goodness. That's true. And she refused to answer basic questions. I had to put some bleeps in, but I've got the audio of her getting hammered by members of Congress, and it is not a Republican and a Democratic thing. People see this for what it is. We'll talk about that right around 7:35.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. There is a chance for a spot shower storm as early as this morning and continuing through the afternoon. They're driven by the heat of the day, so after sunset, the chance for rain will decrease. Now, temperatures today near 87 degrees, a little bit of cloud cover out there, and at times it's going to feel noticeably humid. We fall into the 70s overnight, and then tomorrow, looking at temperatures near 90 degrees. And that's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Looking for the ultimate golfing experience in St. Louis? Look no further than Sugar Creek Golf Course. As the most popular golf course in the region, Sugar Creek offers 18 holes of challenging play, designed for all skill levels on rolling country hills with stunning views. But it's not just about the game, it's about the experience. Friendly staff, new Yamaha golf carts, freshly paved cart paths, and renovated clubhouse will make your day on the course a pleasure. Sugar Creek Golf Course, the perfect place to bring your team or friends together. Book your tee time today at sugarcreekgolfcourse.com. That's sugarcreekgolfcourse.com.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
Let me share a Politico column with you titled Alone and Abandoned. Biden learns that friends are more dangerous than enemies. It's talking about how Joe Biden reached the decision he must leave the race. It adds, signs suggest Joe Biden and his family have considerable resentment toward party leaders for forcing his hand. Biden, through various interviews, speeches, personal appeals, all in an effort to keep the party on his side and the party leaders, especially after that debacle of a debate. So Biden's decision seemed to be almost inevitable, but he was not going to acknowledge it. The short letter in which Biden acknowledged he had expected to be nominee but changed his mind, again, according to this article in Politico, carried a whiff of to hell with it, or even to hell with all of you. And even close-time aides, longtime counselor, got very little advance notice of the news. All of this reminds me of something that you heard in Godfather Part 2. It's also in 1 Samuel in the Bible. Keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. And Joe Biden might be rereading those words even now.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Columbo for Capriotti's Sandwich Shop. Capriotti's is famous for setting themselves apart due to their dedication to superior quality and ingredients like slow-roasted, hand-pulled whole turkey and American Wagyu straight from Snake River Farms. That dedication to superior quality is evident from the very first bite into a Capriotti sandwich. Visit Capriotti's Sandwich Shop 7 days a week at the corner of Manchester and McKnight in Rock Hill and get more info, including how to impress at your next event with their great catering at capriottis.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Missouri education officials must be bad poker players. They keep doubling down on the same bad bet. Public school students haven't been reading or doing math at their grade level for way too long. Last year, a horrifying 40% were regarded as not college or career ready after high school. Many states have adopted school choice. Iowa, Oklahoma, and Arkansas all provide money so families can choose the public or private school that works for them. And Kansas has one of the strongest public school choice programs in the nation. Nearly every family in Missouri is given exactly two choices for their children's education. They're assigned public school or learning online. That's it. Our neighbors trust their parents to choose the right school for their kids. Missouri doesn't, so enrollment is already shrinking. That will mean fewer high school graduates, college students, and workers. A bad bet indeed. Check out our 2024 blueprint, Moving Missouri Forward at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
What happens next?
On July 13th, we failed.
Happens right here.
You are responsible for the loss of a life and the shooting that took place on President Trump. You do need to resign. This is bipartisan.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday, 9 to 11, right here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning people.
She's totally committed to major independence.
All right. That was some must-see TV in that Secret Service hearing. You know, Fox News and some of the others carry those hearings live. And it's funny because as I'm going to play a couple sound bites from Nancy Mace, we've got a bleep on it, but they carried it live.
Oh, yeah. They sure did.
Now, it's cable, so they actually don't have the same rules as broadcasters do. A lot of people would be surprised to know that you actually can say pretty much anything you want on cable television.
Yeah,
they really aren't the same rules.
Yeah.
But a congressional hearing sounds like it would be the most boring thing in the world.
Yes.
I mean, what you have are visions of C-SPAN 3. You know, squeezed right in between the tour of the Capitals and book notes. Although not every book notes episode was terrible.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
All right.
There was one that was brilliant because they featured my wife.
Yeah, that's true.
Did I cover my butt
there? I think you did.
Okay, good. 7:30. Yeah, Rachel's up. So for hours, and this was like a 4-hour hearing yesterday with Kimberly Cheadle, the director of the Secret Service. Now, she knew she was going to come in and be criticized. I'm still wondering if she knew that she was going to get her butt kicked.
Like, what did you expect, lady?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, a lot of times, here's what happens. A lot of these hearings are just for show. They're not actually for investigatory purposes.
No, they're soundbite machines.
Right. It's more about the Republicans and the Democrats doing battle with each other, using the witness as fodder for that.
That's
So
true.
basically, it's we're going to bring you to Washington, D.C., so you get to brag that you testified before Congress for the rest of your life, while we take pot shots at each other, but really directing it at you.
We're going to roast you and then use you in the food fight. That's really what it is.
Dang, I wish I'd thought of that. That's not what happened yesterday, though.
No.
Both Republicans and Democrats, and we are saying from Marjorie Taylor Greene to AOC.
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, that gamut.
This is more like a bonfire, and the Republicans and Democrats held hand and danced around it.
Yes. They see this failure at the Donald Trump rally in Pennsylvania as something much bigger than one thing went wrong, or two things went wrong, or three things. They looked at this because the more they looked at it, the more they see a systematic failure, meaning there is a massive hole in the process. Now, let me back up before I get to some of these sound bites here, because Nancy Mace questioning Kimberly Cheadle, you do not want to miss this here. Yes, it's a hearing. Yes, it's a very lawyerly-like sort of cross-examination, but I'm telling you, you don't want to miss it here in a second.
Yeah, this is one of those let her cook moments.
Yeah. And so this is a much bigger picture for a lot of people, because even though I look at Republicans and Democrats very, very cynically in so many different ways, with a lot of cynicism, they know that if your executive leadership is not safe, you immediately risk a chaotic, destabilized government.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, everybody who has Secret Service protection is now looking over their shoulders. Like, am I going to be the next victim of the incompetence of this agency?
Which has a reputation for being the best in the world.
Right.
Now I would say probably the IDF, from Israel would be the best in the world as far as just their ability to execute their missions. But the U.S. Secret Service, if they are incompetent right now, it is because politicians have allowed them to become incompetent rather. I've got a book at home called "In the President's Secret Service," which is just a bunch of, sort of behind the scenes stories. And it is one of the most fascinating books, but it was written probably 10 years ago, and before any of this became political. And you learn about the, sort of mission critical focus that they have. And it also has some people calling out, even back then, some of the things they would do just for show before politicians.
Right.
But listen to where this has gone. Here's Nancy Mace questioning Kimberly Cheadle yesterday. And Nancy Mace was absolutely doing this partially because it was on television, but she got to the point she wanted to make. And this is what happened.
Both sides of the aisle today have asked for your resignation. Would you like to use my 5 minutes to draft your resignation letter? Yes or no?
No, thank you.
Was this a colossal failure?
It was a failure.
Yes or no? Was it a colossal failure is the question. Yes or no?
I have admitted this is a terrible.
This is a yes or no series of questions. Was this a colossal failure? Yes or no?
Yes.
Was this tragedy preventable? Yes or no?
Yes.
Has the Secret Service been transparent with this committee?
Yes.
Would you say the fact that we had to issue a subpoena to get you to show up today as being transparent? Yes or no?
I have always been
yes
eager
or
to
no.
come
You didn't
and
want to
talk
answer
to
the
the
question.
committee.
We had to issue a subpoena to get you to show up today. That is not transparent, by the way. You stated earlier, Secret Service is not political. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Would you say leaking your opening statement to Punchbowl News, Politico's Playbook, and Washington Post several hours before you sent it to this committee as being political? Yes or no?
I have no idea how my statement got out.
Well, that's bullshit. So, Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
I would like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record articles by Punchbowl News, Political Playbook, Washington Post, all done at 5:24 a.m., 6:12 a.m., 6:34 a.m., a solid 3 to 4 hours before this committee got your statement.
Without objection to order.
Okay, so you know,
she had no patience. She had no patience for any
No.
of the bull crap, and she absolutely called it out for what it was,
right?
And in no uncertain terms, as we say.
Right. This is why I review every soundbite before I put
Yes,
it on the air.
yes, we have to do that.
Okay, here's the next part of that conversation.
Is the Secret Service fully cooperating with our committee?
Yes.
Okay, you say you're fully cooperating with this committee. On July 15th, this committee sent you a list of demands of information that we wanted. Has the Secret Service provided this committee a complete list of all law enforcement personnel that were there that day? Have you done that? Have you provided a list to the Oversight Committee? Yes or no?
I will have to get back to you on that.
That is a no. Have you provided all audio and video recordings in your possession to this committee, as we asked on July 15th? Yes or no?
I would have to get back to you.
That is a no. You're full of shit today. You're just being completely dishonest.
Well, is she wrong? No, she's not wrong. She is not wrong. But and here's the thing. We watched her, and or at least I did on video, walk into the room, walk into the the area there with a big old binder. Like that, it was thick. It was, you know how the cover of the binder, if there's not enough paper in it, it kind of angles down, so it's kind of like triangle shaped. This was a full-on rectangular shaped binder, so it was full. All those papers in there.
A KJP.
It was a KJP
That's
binder.
right, yeah.
It was full, and 0 answers in it. So what did she have in there? Was it a picture book? Like what do you bring to a congressional testimony that fills that much space and doesn't allow you to answer any of the questions which you had before you got there,
which they knew they were going to be asked?
Those are questions that they knew were going to be asked, questions that anyone who had a serious eye towards investigating the issue would have been asking, within an hour of finding out that it happened. If you were actually in leadership, or you actually taking responsibility for the thing. I don't buy for 1 second that she doesn't have the answers and it just isn't giving it to us. I mean,
I agree.
It's either she's holding off on providing those answers, or she is refusing to gather them for us.
I think that's it. I mean, I think that's it. And here's the thing: is she started off by saying, this was on us. This was unacceptable. This was a failure on our part. And then she started throwing other people under the bus and making excuses and defending the system.
Right.
Defending the people in the system, defending the elite who are there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you lose the trust of all of us. And we can sense you're not there to solve the problem, because this is much bigger than CYA for you and your department.
Yeah, there is no private entity in the world that could get away with this. That can get away with this kind of failure and not being brought to task in a serious way.
All right, let's move on from politics for just a little bit. By the way, at 8:05, Newsmax host Carl Higbie going to be with us once again. It's always fun when Carl's on.
Oh yeah.
But basically, the candidates are now trying to court us, Gabe.
Oh, they are. Yeah. Yes.
Now that happens in real life too.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we know if you're dating an idiot?
Okay.
The internet has spoken. They'll tell you about it around 7:51.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Legends of Country Rock with Pure Prairie League, Atlanta Rhythm Section, Richie Furay from Poco and Buffalo Springfield, and Firefall. Saturday, September 28th, the Family Arena. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. Don't miss Legends of Country Rock live.
Blue Oyster Cult is back live. Friday, October 4th at the Family Arena.
with special guests Tommy DiCarlo, a former lead singer of Boston, and Jason Sheff, longtime lead singer of Chicago. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House Furniture box office, located at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster. Blue Oyster Cult.
Nate Lucas here for the Village Bar in the heart of Des Peres. Since 1948, the Village Bar has been the go-to destination for delicious food, cold drinks, and unbeatable atmosphere. Savor their famous wings, burgers, and onion rings, or grab a drink from their fully stocked bar. Catch all the big games and enjoy the company of their friendly staff. Plus, don't miss the 1879 Distillery, a one-of-a-kind experience right next door. The Village Bar offers the best value in town. Find the Village Bar on Facebook and come experience where history meets great times. You'll be glad you did. Old man winter in the rearview mirror. Warmer weather here. Time to call Hanson's Tree Service. 636-379-1830. 24/7 at hansonstree.com. This is the perfect time to spruce up and beautify your landscape beds. When you purchase organic mulch in bulk from Hanson's, you save on price, time, and incredibly convenient. Tons of commercial and residential tree care services as well. Grinding and land clearing, plant health care, and more. 636-379-1830. hansonstree.com. hansonstree.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
You got to love it when people just kind of get the open forum to just run. And they were asked, do you have an I'm dating an idiot story?
Where I guess you realize, after the rose-colored glasses have finally come off and you kind of open your eyes to something going on and you realize, that's the situation we're talking about here.
Which, by the way, when we look at the upcoming presidential campaign, between everything indicates it's going to be Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk to a Newsmax anchor and host Carl Higbie about that. He's going to be with us at 8:05. Also, what are the ramifications of the Kimberly Cheadle hearings and the failures of the Secret Service? And I would argue not as bad, because literally a bullet whizzed through part of Donald Trump's ear.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that she's now circling the wagons and being defensive, that further erodes any trust or confidence that she's going to have in her agency, and the people of this country are going to have. And it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. So we're going to get Carl's take on that here in just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So the segue is, of course, the candidates are trying to date us. So we tried to find a way, because this thing from Reddit is just funny. It's really funny.
Yeah, I mean, the Democrats are realizing that they've been kind of they've been in a situationship with an idiot for a while now, and they're trying to step up.
When you look back in your dating life, and thank God I never have to worry about like dating for courting purposes.
Oh,
I still go out on dates with my wife.
Yes, that's
but
awesome.
When you were dating, did you ever like get back to your place at the end of the day and go, I think I was the idiot. I'm the one they're going to tell the stories about.
Luckily, I've never been the idiot on that side.
I had it one time.
Oh yeah,
I had a flat tire driving my date somewhere, and I'm like, man, this road's really rough. And then I realized that my tire was shredded.
Oh no,
because it was kind of a rough road, but it wasn't that rough. So I looked like an idiot. So anyway, all right. So the interwebs asked people this, and some of the great stories here on this, and there's more than I could get to. There was a woman. There was one man who said that a woman he was out on a date with thought that Mark Twain was Shania Twain's husband.
He's not.
Oh, that's great.
Here's one that's going to hurt.
Okay.
There was a woman said that a guy thought Harriet Tubman was a railroad conductor.
Oh no. Oh no.
It's like you misunderstood what the Underground Railroad was.
Railroad conductor.
Oh my goodness.
Woo woo.
Oh. One guy apparently, according to these Reddit posts, bragged that he'd never read a book.
He took that as a badge of honor.
He bragged it.
Okay.
Bragged about that.
I've never read a book.
I don't read books.
Those books are for, learning. Why are you bragging about that?
There was apparently on one date, a woman told her date that she wanted to be a veteran because she loves animals. This is all from Reddit.
So she thinks when she drives past that veterans hospital and all the guys in wheelchairs, she thinks they're just going in to cuddle the puppies.
I think
right.
I saw that answer on a beauty pageant once.
Probably.
Oh yes, I'm be a veteran.
See, in some of these, I'm like, can people really be this dumb?
Yeah.
But then you see some of the like the Reels videos, and they really can.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
A woman told her date she thought the sun and the moon were the same thing. The moon is just the sun when it runs out of fuel each day.
Oh, whoa. Wait. Who does she think fills back up the tank of the sun?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's obviously Saint Michael's job.
Oh my goodness.
Oh boy.
One woman wanted to know if the breed of somebody's dog was, and asked if that was a Belgian waffle.
Okay, now was she joking or did
I'm gonna hope that she was joking.
Oh my gosh.
Oh goodness, here.
There's his puppy syrup.
Yeah. And so that was okay. Let's see here. I love this one. Okay, so somebody gave their date a couple options for dinner, an Italian restaurant or one with different options. And then the date, she said that she hated Italian, so she wanted to go to the other one, and then she ordered lasagna.
Oh no. Oh no. She doesn't realize that lasagna is Italian.
No.
So the whole pasta, tomato sauce, and cheese and meat were that combination.
Right.
Like basically Italian food is like is very similar to like Mexican food, where it's just the same ingredients is repackaged in different ways. So she couldn't put that together. She never put that together.
No. There was one woman who said that she was on a date with a guy. He spit out his gum on the sidewalk and said, "Don't worry, it'll evaporate." Evaporate.
Oh my gosh. What? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We've never been to a science class, I suppose.
Yeah.
Skipping those.
There was somebody who said, I'm quoting here, "We had a heated debate on whether or not dinosaurs were alive during the American Revolution. The girlfriend's stance was there was no way to know." Listen, if dinosaurs were alive during the American Revolution, you sick the T-Rexes on the redcoats.
Yes, seriously. Why didn't George Washington have a white dinosaur instead of a white horse? Like seriously. An albino raptor would have been awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine the pictures. And the statues.
Oh my goodness. A guy claimed he couldn't get his girlfriend pregnant while he was on antibiotics. I'm just going to leave that one right there.
Hi, I'm Rodney Wallner.
And I'm Jen Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Jen, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission plan?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What's the best time to sell your home?
Right now, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
Come celebrate International Tiger Day with the big cats at Crown Ridge Tiger Sanctuary. Saturday, July 27th from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Enjoy a fun-filled day with our special felines. Meet a tiger keeper, lots of kids activities, vendors, food, and so much more. International Tiger Day, a fun event for the whole family. Tickets are $10 per person. Kids 3 and under get in free. All proceeds go to taking care of our rescued big cats. For more info, visit crownridgetigers.com.
Tim Jones here with Dr. Pat Fader of Comprehensive Chiropractic. Doc, I hear you all have a new treatment program for everyone's chronic knee pain.
Tim, that's right. We are helping patients with chronic knee pain by addressing the root cause of their condition.
And what makes your program so unique?
Well, Tim, many programs focus on just one component of the problem, the structural component. Our program focuses on the metabolic and neurological component to complete the picture and improve our patients' outcomes. We get to the root cause of what is driving inflammation in a person's body and address it directly.
For your chronic knee pain and more, visit cchiropractic.com. All information, make an appointment at cchiropractic.com.
The Vic Borselli Show.
This is the actual precedent set why Bernie Sanders cannot have a 32-hour work week.
The Department of Labor wishes to report that the workers of Fredonia are demanding shorter hours.
Very well, we'll give them shorter hours. We start by cutting their lunch hour to 20 minutes.
Where's Fredonia?
Oh, it's right.
Oh, here we go.
It's on the southern part of Gooberstam.
Yeah.
And of course, Rufus T. Firefly was the leader of Fredonia.
Vic Porcelli, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jeremy House. President Biden says he's determined to get as much done as he possibly can in his final 6 months in the White House. Speaking by phone to staffers at campaign headquarters, Mr. Biden said his decision to withdraw was the right call.
I know yesterday's news was surprising and it was hard for you to hear, but it was the right thing to do.
White House Chief of Staff Jeff Zients urged aides during a staff meeting to keep their heads down and remain focused on the work that remains. The director of the Secret Service took a lot of heat from lawmakers during a hearing yesterday on the assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump. During that House Oversight Committee hearing, Chairman James Comer asked Agency Director Kimberly Cheadle about the deployment of officers and resources on July 13th.
I will repeat the question. Have the investigators reconstructed the shooter's precise moments over the past days, weeks, and months?
I understand your question, Chairman, and I share your concerns about wanting to make sure that we have factual information.
Cheadle acknowledges the Secret Service failed in its mission.
The assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump on July 13th is the most significant operational failure of the Secret Service in decades, and I am keeping him and his family in my thoughts.
Lawmakers peppered Cheadle with questions about why she should be allowed to keep her job. A group that monitors settlements in the West Bank says Israel has budgeted millions of dollars to protect and support the growth of small, unofficial Jewish farms in the Israeli-occupied territory. U.S. customers who bought a new General Motors vehicle last quarter paid an average of just under $49,900, a price that helped push the company's net income 15% above a year ago. On Wall Street, Dow futures are down 5 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Anyone with everyday aches and pains, I've got a question. What are you missing out on? Probably a lot. So let me tell you about Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. In about 3 weeks, you'll discover what it's like to feel better. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4RELIEF.
Hi, this is Rhett Rasmussen of BestHotGrill.com. We make the amazing Solaire infrared gas grills that are built to last and will consistently deliver better than restaurant grilled food. The Solaire infrared burner heats up to 1,000 degrees in just 3 minutes, even in the dead of winter. The high heat locks in the juices and flavor and grills food faster. Learn more about these fantastic USA-made grills at BestHotGrill.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. There is a chance for a spot shower storm as early as this morning and continuing through the afternoon. They're driven by the heat of the day, so after sunset, the chance for rain will decrease. Now, temperatures today near 87 degrees, a little bit of cloud cover out there, and at times it's going to feel noticeably humid. We fall into the 70s overnight, and then tomorrow looking at temperatures near 90 degrees. And that's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. CarePractic.com or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stiefel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Mike Ferguson.
It's a miracle we're not in prison.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
Are you kidding me?
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
All right, here we go. We've got Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump. That appears to be the case. You've got the multiple media outlets, AP and some others, saying we've surveyed the delegates. Democrats are circling the wagons. They're looking at this saying for good, bad, or otherwise, Kamala's the candidate.
Yep, this is the head-to-head that we're going to look forward to.
What is this going to look like in this campaign? There are no normal people involved.
That's a very polite way.
Let's be honest.
That's a polite way of putting it, yes.
I don't even know who she's going to pick for her running mate, but the only thing I can guarantee you is that it will not be a normal human being.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
And of course, now, whoever that is going to be relying on the U.S. Secret Service to protect them where nobody has any confidence in them.
No.
Jeez. All right. It's 8:06 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. We've got Gabe here. We've got Stell here. Now joined by Carl Higbie from Newsmax Television. Hear him every afternoon. Carl, great to talk to you, man. All right, let's talk. Let's start with the presidential race right here. You know, as you're covering this every day on Newsmax, the Democrats, I don't get a sense that they are enthused about Kamala Harris. I don't get a sense that they necessarily even like Kamala Harris. I think they want a better option, but they don't have a better option. So where do they go from here?
So nobody's excited about Kamala Harris. Nobody ever has been. Nobody ever was, except for Montel Williams and Willie Brown. So the bigger problem here is Kamala Harris. Nobody's running against Kamala Harris. The Republicans right now are running against the system. Kamala Harris is just the figurehead of the system. She's just the next one to be installed because she's compliant. She's radical. She'll do whatever they can to maintain power. That is all she is there for. She has absolutely no original ideas of her own. She has no ideas, forget original, but she has no policy expansion that she can say, like, look, I did that and it worked. I mean, the one thing she was in charge of was the border, and look at it now. I mean, you've got 1.5 times the illegal migrants in 4 years under her border czar watch as the last 16 years of presidents combined.
Good morning, Carl. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So I think you hit the nail on the head there, where nobody's particularly enthused about her in particular, but the machine is absolutely moving with $100 million plus, I think, raised at this point for her candidacy since becoming the nominee or the presumptive nominee. What do you make of that situation, the numerical situation going into the general here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up because nobody raises, and I had a couple folks on my show last night to talk about this. Nobody raises $100 million or $80 million, whatever the final number is, on a whim. You know, like, this requires infrastructure, it requires staffing and people and all these things. And like, for all intents and purposes, Kamala didn't have that. Yes, you can make the argument that she rolled this over from the Biden structure, but like, people knew in order to be able to set that up. People knew, and that's the bigger problem too. Is this is a party who's saying, and this is what we're going to be talking about tonight at 5 o'clock Eastern, which is like, this is an insurrection. These people just jettisoned a president who won their Democrat primary with 14.5 million votes, and now they just jettisoned him because it's not because he had dementia, but because they couldn't hide it anymore. And we're supposed to sit like, oh yeah, democracy and stuff, and like we're supposed to cheer it on. Yeah, right.
Okay, so Carl, just to be clear, you're saying that $80-some million in 24 hours, that wasn't an organic uprising of support from the people?
You're going to be shocked when you hear this, but fat chance.
Hey, good morning, Carl. Stal Ponticus here. We've seen various Democrats checking in on the Harris campaign so far, but I've heard very little, unless you've heard some stuff I haven't heard, very little from the Obamas. Any thoughts from you regarding that situation?
I mean, here's the thing. It's like, this all boils down to the fact that, we're sitting in like completely uncharted territory right now. This has never happened before in my lifetime. I mean, like, look, no, yes, somebody threw a shoe at George Bush, and obviously, that wasn't during my lifetime. But we have an assassination attempt on a president within days. The current president, who was the guy who everybody, including Kamala, told us was so star-spangled awesome, and he runs laps around. I mean, basically, Karine Jean-Pierre was coming to the stand every day saying, "Oh yeah, he's doing like quantum physics upside down while doing yoga." And now within like what was 72 hours, we have an entirely different race. This is like, I can't underestimate, I can't like overstate how important it is for people to pay attention. It's like the fact that people are just numb to this. They're like, "Oh man, this is crazy. Yeah, anyway, let me go back to my latte." This is like, people are so numb to this because the Democrats have been doing crazy stuff like this forever, and nobody has called them out.
We're visiting with Carl Higbie from Newsmax TV. Let me follow up on that. I mean, now that even the people who, like you said, weren't really engaged or paying attention, they were smacked in the face with, "Oh my God, this guy is not all there. He is, he's just not competent cognitively on that." A lot of us pundit types, we like to read into it and say, okay, so people are going to be angry at the Biden administration, the Biden-Harris campaign, that inner circle. But what kind of trust does this destroy with either one entire side of our body politic or the entire system itself, when normal people look at this and say, if they're lying to me about the leader of the free world, well, who and what can I trust? And there's a lot of people that don't really distinguish between R&D. They just look at Washington.
Yeah, well, we used to run campaigns on these things called issues. I know this is a weird concept now, but like, Donald Trump is like, "Here's my 25-point plan. It's on my website in like one sentence format. It's easy to read. This is what I'm doing. Oh, by the way, this is what I did for 4 years, and it actually worked out." But now you have an entire party who's not running on issues because they can't run on issues. Everything they do fails. But the Democrat platform now is, "Oh, but Donald Trump." And I say this to Democrats all the time. And if you're a Republican out there listening right now, and you know a Democrat, I feel bad for you, but here's how you deal with them. You say to them, "Hey, what is your platform? Why should we vote for Democrats in this next election without using the word Donald Trump? Go."
By the way, if somebody says, "Yeah, but Donald Trump," what I would recommend is say, "Oh, wait a minute, that's the guy with the hole in his ear, right?"
Yeah, exactly. Here's the unauthorized ear piercing.
Speaking of which, I wanted you to comment on the testimony in Congress by Director Cheadle. Yes, where she proceeded to, and I keep mentioning this. She walked into the room with a gigantic full binder and had zero answers. I'm trying to figure out what was in the book. What do you think?
No, let's back up to the fact that she walked into that hearing with an all-male Secret Service detail. They were all over 6 feet. From the woman who said, "Well, we need to have 30% of the Secret Service female by 2030. She said that on their website and then reinforced it in an ABC interview and then lied under oath and said, no, I never said that. It's like these people, I don't know if they just don't remember, if they're not intelligent enough. So that's yes, she walks in with an entire binder. And I don't know if she had like her coloring book in there or something, but gave approximately, give or take, zero answers. I know less coming out of that than I knew before the hearing. And this is like the problem with bureaucrats. There's no one's ever held accountable. I know Nancy Mace is now trying to have her ejected via impeachment, which has never happened at that lower, let's call it lower level office, because she's not a cabinet secretary. And then you have Anna Paulina Luna, who thankfully is like, hey, you lied to us about a number of things. I want to hold you in contempt. Like this person, she's like, yes, it's my fault. It's like, okay, then you almost cost the Republican nominee, past and probably future president, his life. Like, and then you've got people saying, oh, I didn't want to go on the rooftop because it was too hot. It's like, bro, I spent 9 years in and out of Iraq with 80 pounds of gear. It was 130 freaking degrees. And they were like, get your butt out there and go kill bad guys. And we had to do it. Like, at what point was it be okay to say, nah, man, it's like 88 degrees on that roof. I don't want to go.
And it has a slight slope. You got to remember the slope. It's kind of dangerous up there.
Too slopey.
Too slopey. Yeah. And Carl, regarding the whole thing with, the quotas for the female agents over the weekend, that was like one of the statements that Secretary Mayorkas and Director Cheadle put out, was angry and offended that people were questioning the female agents who were on that assignment, assuming they were agents and not just DHS, employees from somewhere else. But that almost shows where the ideology wins out over getting the job done. And then they wonder why people immediately question your picks, because if you let the ideology win out, literally somebody came within, a half an inch of losing his life in the name, to some degree, of ideology and DEI and all of the woke garbage out there.
Yeah, no, 100%. And this is the other thing. There's like some people in the Republican Party, yes, these rhinos are still exist. We have not run them out yet. But they are like, oh, we shouldn't be criticizing, women on the detail and stuff like that. It's like, dude, I don't care if you're a woman, if you're a man, black, white, blue, green, yellow, pick one from Mars, from Venus, from Earth. I don't care. Can you do the job? And if that job requires you picking up a 6'3", 225-pound Donald Trump and running him to safety if necessary, if you can't do that, this is not the job for you. I am never going to be a ballerina. I'm never going to go to Juilliard. It is not my thing. Why? Because I'm not cut out for it, and I'm totally okay with that. But to force me in because, you need more knuckle-dragging white men on Juilliard right now is stupid.
Hey, where do the Republicans go from here? I mean, when you look at, let's start with the, and I know we just have a couple minutes left here. We're visiting with Carl Higbie from Newsmax Television. Where do the Republicans go from here? Because the focus should be, and this is one of the few areas where you see Republicans and Democrats both pissed off about what's happening and the stonewalling that's happening. And that's a little refreshing in a bizarre way because of something so terrible. And I know it's not going to last, but where should they go from here to actually solve the problem? I don't want to see Donald Trump's life in danger. I don't want to see J.D. Vance's life in danger. I don't want to see Kamala Harris's life in danger. I don't want to see her running mate's life in danger. I don't want to see Joe Biden's life in danger. I don't want to see Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s life in danger. I don't want to see any of that, which means they have to solve the problem in short order. And I have no confidence that there's actually a plan or an ability to do that right now.
Well, under this administration, certainly no. I mean, Joe Biden, we don't even have proof of life right now. But at the other side is Republicans or somebody should start making a list. I'm going to start doing this on my show, actually. I'm glad you guys thought of it. We're going to start making a list of these people, and we're going to put down who they are and why they should be fired. And then when Donald Trump gets reelected and back into the White House, we're going to haul all these people back in and make them answer the questions that they refuse to answer. Be like, here's the deal. If you give me I can't disclose that or I don't know, you're fired. Period, full stop. Done, and done. You're done training. You're not in the federal government anymore. And you're going to give them an RE8, which means they can never, ever, ever work in federal government ever again. That is the leverage that you need to have over these people. We don't have it under this administration. The House they're just not giving the information. Maybe they missed the part where the House is there to provide oversight to the executive branch, which everything like Cheeto falls under. But at the end of the day, the left loves to put people on lists. Oh, you don't want your kids to wear a mask at school? We're putting on you the domestic watch list. You own a gun? We're going to put you on this list. You drive too fast? We're going to put you. Democrats love to do that. It's time Republicans start putting the list together and say, these are the people who gave the middle finger to the Constitution and to the people who pay their salary, us the taxpayers. And when they get back in office, don't even give them another chance to answer it, but just fire them and just end their federal employment permanently.
I'm all aboard.
I'm loving this.
I'm there.
I'm
there. All right. Carl Higbie, Frontline on Newsmax Television, 4:00 Central Time is when you can see Carl every day. Of course, obviously Newsmax Television to catch it anytime you want after that. Carl, early in the day, I'm sure the presidential race, I'm sure the Secret Service hearings are all part of what you're covering today, but we'll look forward to that and talk to you again soon.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, sir.
Talk to you soon, Carl. Thanks a lot. All right.
Thanks.
314-912-1019. Man, Carl comes up with the best one.
Oh man, absolutely. And that idea is perfect.
Yeah.
It kind of rings like the here's a satellite picture of your house. We're gonna negotiate now type of vibes. I would love that. It's like, hey, we're gonna have a little sit down. Here's your pink slip. Plus, you can never work here again form.
Yeah.
I just need to decide whether I'm going to sign these today.
Right. All right. Gonna dump some news on you. We got some thoughts on this. Let's hear it. 314-912-1019. This is 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
I've had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop right now before you blow us all away. You wanna do that? Get up!
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. News, analysis, opinion.
I will never forget where I came from. Ladies and gentlemen, I came from Middletown, Ohio.
We are the most unified party I think that's ever existed.
Our president, Joe Biden, wanted to be here today. He is feeling much better.
She is unfit and unqualified to be our president and commander-in-chief.
It is my firm belief, Director Cheadle, that you should resign.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number one.
The conservative talk. News Talk STL and newstalkstl.com.
You know, Rachel and I have some ongoing list of the projects that we are working on the house. And I think a lot of people have that. Why do we always have that about our house? I mean, we don't always have that about other things in our lives, but because your house is a huge part of your life, not just financially. I mean, it is likely the largest financial investment that you're ever going to make. But at the same time, it is where your memories happen. It is where your security is supposed to happen. It is where all of these wonderful things happen in your life. And so we should want your home to be the best performing, highest quality place that it possibly can be. So don't forget your windows. You need to call my friends at Window World. Mike Ferguson here for Window World. They are simply the best for less. The number is 314-993-1800. And let me just start off by saying a lot of times people, hear about a company that sells something that you really need. Now, Window World doesn't just sell them. They custom make them here in the United States, bring them in from the custom making facility that they have in Iowa, and then they custom install them into your home. But a lot of times people say, I don't want to deal with the sales pitch. I don't want to deal with that presentation. I hate it when the roofing guy or the HVAC guy or the plumbing guy or the driveway guy or any of those come in and they put that high pressure thing on because they know if they leave without a deal that they're not going to get it. So they just pull out all the stops. I have personally talked to my friends at Window World about that because you know what? I hate it too. Can't stand it. And I was pleasantly surprised to find out the answer was, yeah, we hate that too. Here's the deal. Window World is part of St. Louis. These are not storm chasers who follow storms and then knock on doors and then try to sell you something right away and then leave town and chase the next storm. They have been in business here in St. Louis for over 20 years. When you call 314-993-1800, you're calling the offices in the warehouse in Earth City right there off of I-70. They've got over 70,000 customers here in St. Louis. They care about their reputation. They care about being a part of St. Louis. They are crazy about the St. Louis Blues. They are part of us. So when you call 314-993-1800 with your questions, or because you want to get some windows, or you want to get that free in-home estimate, you're talking about somebody who is worried about their permanent reputation. And that's one of the ways you know they are going to treat you right. They're going to get in and get out. Their goal is less than 45 minutes, between 30 and 45 minutes, to show you what they can do, to take the measurements, to give you a quote that they will stick to, and then let you make your decision on your own time. It's really that simple. Call them today with your questions. Get that in-home estimate. Tell them you heard me talking about them. 314-993-1800.
Hi, it's Dr. Randy Tobler, along with daughter Sammy Tobler-Gregory, a team member here at our family-owned Body of Health Direct Primary Care Practice. Sammy, what are patients telling you about their experience at Body of Health?
I can't tell you how many patients I've had come to me and tell me they just so appreciate getting to sit across the table with their doctor and chat about whatever's going on with their healthcare needs for however long they need.
Want to learn more about healthcare the way it ought to be? Schedule a discovery call at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Are you tired of establishment politics? Meet Adam Schnelting, your true conservative choice for state senate. Adam Schnelting, husband, father, soldier, and member of the House Freedom Caucus. Adam authored the legislation that ended abortion in Missouri and is the grassroots candidate Jefferson City fears. Unlike his opponent Phil Cristofanelli, who's backed by lobbyists and Democrats, Adam's support comes from right here in St. Charles County. It's time for real conservative leadership. Vote Adam Schnelting for state senate.
Paid for by Leadership for America PAC, John Royal, Treasurer.
This is 101.9 and 94.1.
I have to tell you, if this is how they're going to behave, I'm rethinking my position.
News Talk STL. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
Oh, don't you dare look back, just keep your eyes on me. I said, you're holding back. She said, shut up and dance with me. This woman is my destiny.
Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle gets humiliated on national television. Couldn't happen to a more deserving person. Joe Biden says he's going to finish his term. We shall see about that. If I were a gambler, Gabe, I'm betting on no, he won't.
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
I am telling you right now, my bet is that Kamala Harris will be the 47th president of the United States.
Ugh, that kind of hurts my heart, man.
And then run as an incumbent.
Oh, I thought you were going to say run to the hills.
Well,
I did it.
She might do that after the elections, or maybe she's just listening to some great heavy metal.
She's
Run
on the
to
phone.
hills.
I did it, Joe.
And hundreds of workers walk off the job here in the metro area.
The morning news dump. Are you joking? Is this a joke? Listen, folks. The morning news dump.
By the way, that conversation we just had with Carl Higbie is going to be up on the News Talk STL podcast here in a couple of hours. Be sure to check that out. Send that to your friends. Listen, this is a great way to let your friends know what we do here, because it's amazing, that, there are people who say, oh, man, I just found your radio station. Welcome, but we've been here for 3 years. Yeah. So seriously, that was a lot of fun with Carl, and Carl does not pull any punches.
Oh, no, he's awesome.
If you're subscribed to our podcast or you just find it, even at newstalkstl.com, it's so easy just to forward that to your friends through text or through email or through social media. It's really easy to do that. So check that out.
I kind of wish Carl would have had a chance to question Director Cheadle.
Yes.
Wouldn't that have been great?
Oh, man. That would have been awesome. All right. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle testifying before the House Oversight Committee about the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. Congressman Byron Donalds was on the Ingram Angle on Fox last night discussing the hearing and his frustration without getting much in the way of any simple, basic, direct answers.
You don't have to give us the names of specific agents, but you can sit there and say, we were alerted at this time, and here's the flow of information as it got down to the president's core detail team, which is with him basically all the time. She couldn't even give us that level of information.
And I think it's really important, and I kind of keep harping on this, guys. This is not the Republicans going after the Democrats' Secret Service director. Democrats are fired up about this too. I mean, we were just talking during one of our information segments. AOC had some hard-hitting questions for her.
Yeah.
When was the last time we thought about AOC having a hard-hitting question for anybody?
Yeah, seriously.
But she seemed as fired up about this as Nancy Mace is.
As she should be, because I'm pretty sure everybody there has Secret Service protection.
Well, not in the House, they don't. They get U.S. Capitol Protection Police.
Yeah.
But if you're in leadership and it's high up enough, it's not Secret Service, but it's coordinated there. Yeah. But Republicans aren't the only ones demanding accountability.
Representative Ro Khanna became the second Democrat to call for the resignation of Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle on Monday as she testified before the House Oversight and Accountability Committee. He told Cheadle, quote, "If you have an assassination attempt on a president, a former president, or a candidate, you need to resign." He stressed that the Secret Service should transcend politics so as to have the confidence of independents, Democrats, Republicans, progressives, and conservatives. Bob Agnew reporting.
Okay, this should transcend politics, and at the moment it is transcending politics. I don't know if it's going to continue to transcend politics in the coming weeks.
Yeah, this is one of the few instances where I actually enjoy the bipartisanship.
Yeah.
Usually, bipartisanship has become a dirty word because it just means Republicans giving up, their stances to the Democrats. But in this case, I'm glad for it.
Well, this and the congressional baseball game.
Oh, also that. Yes, I enjoy that.
Without a doubt. All right, the Associated Press is reporting the Vice President Kamala Harris has enough delegate votes to secure the Democratic nomination for president at their convention next month. So far, there's no announced opponents emerging, and the Harris campaign, that's what it is now. It's the Harris campaign is now vetting possible running mates. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, according to multiple reports like the Wall Street Journal, is on that short list.
Her life story is basically a case study of failing upwards.
Yes.
It really
It
is.
is,
I mean,
yeah.
when you really look at it, it's like, how did this woman become president? Or, well, she's about to be. You're predicting it, and I'm kind of agreeing with you.
If he resigns, then she becomes president.
The 47th president, the first black woman president, is going to be this moron.
Be proud, sisters.
Oh my gosh. I weep for my sisters. Honestly, because it's like, oh, that's your example. I mean, I didn't like Obama, but at least he wasn't this.
Yeah. I weep for your sisters too.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. President Biden calling into what used to be his campaign headquarters, now Kamala Harris's headquarters in Wilmington, Delaware. The vice president went there to speak to staffers yesterday. The president told them on that phone call that he is going to finish his term, though. That's what he claims.
I won't be on the ticket, but I'm still going to be fully engaged. I've got 6 months left in my presidency. I'm determined to get as much done as I possibly can, both foreign policy and domestic policy.
Okay, who believes that he's going to finish his term? Anybody?
At this point, I don't.
I don't think he's going to. Gabe, I'm sorry, Stell, is he finishing his term?
I honestly don't know, but if he does, I'm terrified because I'm thinking more executive orders.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He's in no condition to be issuing more executive orders.
I think that's exactly what would happen is he's going to go out throwing, political left-wing, blanket executive orders everywhere.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that this is actually him, frankly. I mean, I'm gonna say it because I saw a very convincing deep fake of him just cussing out everybody. For
that was funny.
Wasn't that hilarious? But the thing is, it was really good.
Oh,
and that was the thing. And we know the voice. I mean, if all you heard was the voice, it could easily have fooled you.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're living in scary times. That's why I want to see the man. I want him to be in front of reporters, have a press conference for crying out loud.
He's done with press conferences.
Oh,
I don't think you're going to see it. Why would he?
Yeah,
I mean, all he can do is hurt his party. He doesn't have to anymore. He's not running. I don't think you're going to see it. If you do, it's going to be so controlled.
When I was a kid in Chicago growing up, this would be in the 50s and 60s. At 10 p.m. every night, the TV stations would have a notice going on the screen that said, "It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your kids are?"
Yo, that's right. I remember that.
And now, last night, I realized, okay, it's 10 p.m. I don't know where my president is.
No,
that's true.
Somebody asked, is Tashar Jones asking about that? Do you know where your kids are? No, sorry.
You know where Tashar Jones is?
Goodness.
Mhm.
All right. Workers at the Lear assembly plant in Wentzville are now on strike. They went on strike about 8.5 hours ago. That's around 460 people affected from local 282. They walked off the job as of midnight. The Lear plant makes seats for cars and trucks.
Yes. This is why it's really, really significant for all of us.
This is a bigger deal because they also make seats for some of the cars made at the GM facility, which is basically next door, right across the street from them right there.
Mhm.
And I found out earlier today that they have already run out of seats after the workers walked off the job, which means it's only a matter of time before that GM plant has to idle production because of this supplier having their workers walk off the job. The unions want more pay, they want increased retirement benefits, and they want the company to cover more insurance costs for the workers.
Man, and the thing is, these types of supply disruptions can impact price.
Oh yeah.
So this if you're in market for a new car or even a used car, your prices may be going up soon.
All right. The Missouri primary election is actually underway right now, technically speaking. No excuse early voting starts today in Missouri, and it's going to continue through August 5th, which is obviously one day before the actual primary election day. Now, per Missouri law, you've got to have a government-issued ID to vote. Check with your county clerk or your election board for locations and any requirements that you're going to need. All right, the Cardinals dropped the first game of their series with the Pirates. Final score in Pittsburgh on Monday was 2-1. Nolan Gorman got that one run with a fifth-inning home run. Game 2 of the series is this afternoon. It is a 5:40 game. Lance Lynn is going to start on the mound for the Cardinals, but the Brewers lost as well, so the Cardinals did not lose any ground in the NL Central.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
The meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. There is a chance for a spot shower storm as early as this morning and continuing through the afternoon. They're driven by the heat of the day, so after sunset, the chance for rain will decrease. Now, temperatures today near 87 degrees, a little bit of cloud cover out there, and at times it's going to feel noticeably humid. We fall into the 70s overnight, and then tomorrow, looking at temperatures near 90 degrees. And that's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Fox News commentary.
The Biden administration is at it again, flying hundreds of illegal immigrants per week from Sanctuary, California to Texas. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Texas leaders are fuming that the Biden administration is flying as many as 600 illegal immigrants per week from the sanctuary state of California into Texas. But it gets more offensive. These illegals are being flown from California into Laredo in the Rio Grande Valley 4 times per week on charter flights that cost taxpayers an estimated $80,000 per flight. This is being done to relieve pressure on San Diego, which has been exhausted in recent months with illegal immigrants pouring in. But this is such a slap in the face to Texas and its leaders, who have actually put measures in place to safeguard the border, only to have illegals circumvent their deterrence, enter through California, then fly to Texas to be dealt with there. It's also unfair to taxpayers who are footing the bill for what has become the Biden-Harris travel agency. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Liberal mega donors are always looking for new rhinos to do their bidding. And with Adam Schnelting, they found their new star. Adam Schnelting has already backed their radical plan to defund our police. And he skipped countless important conservative votes. Skipped a vote to protect kids from sexually explicit materials in school. And skipped a vote to protect churches from junk lawsuits. It's no wonder Adam Schnelting is bankrolled by Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden's top funders. Bill Cristofanelli is the only leader we can trust to protect our conservative priorities. When radicals tried to defund the police, Bill Cristofanelli passed record funding from Missouri's law enforcement. When Joe Biden left our southern border wide open, conservative Bill Cristofanelli banned sanctuary cities and voted to send Missouri National Guard troops to secure the border. Vote Bill Cristofanelli, the proven conservative, for state senate.
Gladius PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, paid for by Gladius PAC, and is not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Dreaming of upgrading your outdoor space? STL FenceWorks is the choice for you. Our skilled craftsmen build custom fences from modern vinyl to classic ornamental, fitting your style and budget. Elevate your outdoor living with low-maintenance decks designed to relax and entertain. We choose only top-quality American-made materials, ensuring your project is built to last. Your satisfaction is our passion. With over 50 years of experience, custom designs, and exceptional customer service, visit stlfenceworks.com today.
News, analysis, opinion.
A former president was shot, an American citizen killed.
While we may be Democrats or Republicans, above all else, we are Americans.
101.9 and 94.1.
You know, I'm praying for President Trump.
News Talk STL.
Danny Define here with the Next Gen on Sunday nights at an all-new time, 8 p.m. We're going to be fighting the good fight, but until then, back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Interesting little side note here from a couple of folks.
Until then, we're fighting the good fight now, Danny. Sorry.
We're always doing the good fight.
Yeah.
A couple of folks online and also one phone caller mentioned that Joe could be taken out by the 25th Amendment, and Arizona and Wisconsin state laws do not allow a primary candidate to be replaced unless they die or they're taken out via the 25th Amendment. And those are two key battleground states.
When they say a primary candidate,
I presume two that have won in the primary.
Okay. Well, I mean, winning your state's primary doesn't guarantee you a spot on the general election ballot, because you can win the primary there and lose other ones as well. The key here for the Democrats in all 50 states is who is actually nominated at the convention. Right. They generally can't change after that.
Yeah.
Now, in the primary race, like Missouri had this years and years ago, where Mel Carnahan was the nominee for the Democratic Party for the U.S. Senate. He tragically died in that plane crash,
and they couldn't replace
and they could not replace it
by law.
So a primary winner in a statewide race cannot be, generally around the country, cannot be replaced. but winning the primary and the presidential race doesn't guarantee you anything until after the convention.
Yeah.
So I think that might be where that's coming from.
Okay.
I'm just guessing.
But yeah, the 25th Amendment could easily be invoked here. I mean, it's a matter of time.
They have the reasoning, they have the evidence to do it, but they won't.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. Just because they don't want the constitutional crisis, essentially,
right?
And they don't want that to get any of that stink on them, so they'd much rather basically force a resignation out of them. And then she's like, you know what, I'm going to step down. My health has been declining since I got this COVID the third time,
right?
In spite of my 67th, booster shot from the great Pfizer.
Right.
So I'm my presumption, my prediction is that's what's going to happen. That they're going to force a resignation out of them, and then Kamala will be elevated that way.
But speaking of the 25th, Eric Schmidt yesterday was the first one to broach that subject.
Right.
So
first one in the Senate.
Yes,
officially.
Yeah, there's a few in the House that have brought it up as well. Yeah. I think I get why the Republicans want to keep bringing up the 25th Amendment because it's constantly reminding the public that Joe Biden is cognitively unable to keep up with the duties of his job,
unfit for office,
and in a tertiary way, reminding everybody that we were lied to about that. And you had, of course, conservative media like us who were saying the evidence is right there.
For 3 years, we've been
telling you this, and it was just considered partisan, tribalistic nonsense. And now people are saying, oh, you guys were right about that. You guys were right about that. Newsmax was right about that. Daily Wire was right about that. RedState was right about that. Fox News and all the others were right about that.
Yeah.
And were you guys going after him because of ideological differences? Sure. I'm not going to deny that was part of it, but going after it, saying this is what's being implemented by somebody who probably doesn't know at times that this is being implemented. I mean, you saw the jokes after that happened on Monday. Hey, do you think the president is awake yet? Does he know that he stepped down from his campaign?
Yeah, seriously.
Have they told him?
Yeah, we wouldn't know unless he had a press conference about it or spoke for. Even speaking from the Oval Office isn't enough. You need to be in front of other people, like a significant number of people to prove that yes, this is me. Yes, I'm making this decision. Because who knows? Who knows what's actually gone behind the scenes? But I'll tell you what. The difference between official misinformation and reality is just time.
Right.
It's time. It's like because a month ago it was misinformation to say that Joe Biden was cognitively declining. All this stuff. Today it's the truth,
and it's just accepted, even by those on the left, even if they will not say it out loud. Although an increasing number will say it. And then it was, well, he's not going to end his campaign. He's absolutely going to keep running. Well, that turned out to be
also
fact checked by reality.
We're riding with Biden.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The ride with Biden response, right?
Yeah. And here's, in a weird way, the assassination attempt on Donald Trump may have had something to do with that, because at the very least, they could have appealed to all the people who just don't like Donald Trump personally.
Right.
Well, now he's a sympathetic figure.
Yeah.
I mean, how weird does this world have to be to where Donald Trump is a sympathetic figure?
Also,
I mean, you can like him, not like him, love his bravado or bullying or however you want to look at it, but he's now literally a sympathetic figure, and that took out so much of Orange Man bad that they were going to have to rely on.
In addition, he's an American icon. Because of that image, that picture, the idea of him is like, you know what? I'm bleeding, but I'm still here. Fight. My goodness, what an image that was in history. That's absolutely going to go down in the history books. That image should win a Pulitzer. It might not, just because
it's not going
who,
to,
who,
because
who these people are.
Yeah.
But still, everybody remembers that. Everybody has that image in their minds.
And speaking of that particular image and photograph, Kathy and I found out a couple of days ago, because we went by Barnes & Noble just to see if the Time magazine had shown up yet. It hadn't shown up yet. And we realized that Time publishes two different covers off and on, and they did that on a recent issue. And then a couple of friends of mine mentioned to me that they probably will do two different issues when that one comes out. I think it's the August 5th issue of Time.
Yeah, because
one of them will have that classic cover.
Oh, because they're monthly now, right?
By every other week on Fridays.
Got it. Okay.
Interesting publishing schedule.
Yeah.
And so they will have two different covers. One will be that iconic one, and the other one will be the one of actually the site there in Butler, Pennsylvania after the rally. So 2 different covers will be available.
I think
both are legit.
They have to run that one cover because they know that's the one they're going to sell out of.
Yeah. That's
Because
for
people
sure.
are going to collect it. It's
Mhm.
people are going to collect that one.
Yep.
You know, so
Without a doubt, probably a lot of people framing it.
Mhm.
on
Yes,
there.
absolutely.
I saw a Reels video of somebody who was getting that photograph. I swear to God, I'm making this up. Tattooed on their arm.
Oh, I saw that.
You saw that one too?
Well, I saw a still image of it
Yeah.
of it being done.
I'm like, dude,
That's a lot. Though.
that's
extra.
You're gonna look back someday and go, "What was I thinking?
Why did I do this?
What was I thinking?
Ugh.
That was maybe not the best life choice."
See, and you wanted me to get Fredbird.
Yes. Stell, I will say this in front of God and however many thousands of people are listening to us right now. If you get a Fredbird tattoo, I will pay for it. Including the tip to the ink artist.
Yeah, there you go.
I will pay for it myself. I am putting it on the record right now. I will pay for your Fredbird tattoo. And there's no way that Kathy is angry at me right now for saying that, right?
Not at all.
No, she's not whatsoever.
Could I do Fredbird on one arm and Clark on the other one? Because Clark's the Cubs.
Well, you got to
mascot.
pay for that one. I'm not paying for that. Yeah, idolatrous imagery.
How about the 2 of them in a fist fight on your back?
Oh, that's an idea.
Rocky style.
That's right.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote quality Christ-centered K-12 education nationwide.
Hi, this is Chris Stegall with the Herzog Foundation. We offer a wide variety of resources relevant to today's families, including a free online publication called The Lion. The lion is one of God's most majestic creatures, symbolizing strength and courage. Named for its attributes, the Lion publication carries articles covering a wide range of topics facing American families and culture, especially related to the education of children. The Lion can be found online at readlion.com. That's READ lion.com.
Sign up for The Lion at readlion.com and find dozens of must-read articles published every day. Visit readlion.com and subscribe for the weekly and daily digests so you never miss an article. Readlion.com. That's readlion.com.
Does your life insurance plan include living benefits, hearing, diabetic supplies, teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones? Larry Connors here. I suggest you call Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial. Call 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, walk them, pet them, and care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that, but you can adopt one. There are millions of pets waiting for a best friend just like you. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
On the next
Larry Connors USA.
Well, the Harris train is leaving the station. All aboard or not? Will it stay on track through the convention or derail?
Larry Connors USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
You just mentioned Time Magazine
Mm-hmm.
coming up. That Time used to be a weekly,
Yes.
and now it's every other week.
It was always Time in Newsweek.
And
as weekly.
which one?
U.S. News and World Report was another
That
one.
was another one. And then there was another one that has gone from weekly to monthly.
Mm.
And some of them now are just online. Like, I don't even know if there's a print version of like Sports Illustrated anymore.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
there is, maybe there's not. I don't know.
I don't know.
When I was a kid, I was subscribed to the Sporting News.
Mm-hmm.
Which was
you got
still
box scores.
I got all kinds of box scores,
Yeah.
and I just love their the way they did. They focused a lot more on baseball, which, baseball, and I followed the NBA back then too. I don't really follow it anymore, but I just loved that.
And maybe because it was printed here in St. Louis, that might be why.
See, I did kind of know that, but yeah, I mean, it was just my favorite. You remember newsstands where it was just magazines as far as the eye could see?
Oh gosh, yeah.
I loved going to the magazine shops, and they're not there anymore. I mean, you mentioned you go to like the bookstores, you go to Borders or Barnes and Nobles or whatever. And
they have a section.
They do have a section, but it's not nearly. It's nowhere near as big as it used to be.
There used to be, back in, I guess the 90s was the last time it was the thing. You'd actually you could go to a newsstand.
Yeah.
Right. It was just a little standalone thing. And it's just rows and rows of print materials.
When I was in my 20s, there was a newsstand that was kind of across the highway, and you walked in, and it was, I mean, I don't know how many square feet it would be. It was a lot bigger than this studio right here. It was like a typical,
like a bodega size.
Yeah, and it was all magazines. I mean, you pick out a topic, it was there. You wanted something about news, it was there. They had Newsweek and U.S. News and World Report and the Economist, and you wanted home improvement, it was there. I think that's where I found my first log cabin magazine. You want to learn about planting trees and plants, there. Home decorating, there. You want something from Japan, there. Sports, there. All there. Now, they did have some swinging doors and a whole other section, which I'm guessing is where they were able to fund and claim they were a legitimate newsstand.
That's probably where they made their money.
That's where they made their money. I'm just going out on a limb and saying I'm guessing that's where they made their money.
People are gross.
But I could go in there and buy anything I wanted, preseason, all the preseason
Street
baseball
and Smiths.
stuff. Street and Smiths. Yep, that's right. And
I remember Posters Clearinghouse getting those in the.
Yeah.
I'd always, hey mom, could I get that so we can enter the thing, and then they'll show up with the giant check.
Well,
no, never happened.
now if you want a variety of magazines, where do you go? You gotta go to the airport almost.
Yeah,
almost.
Because-
Although Barnes and Noble does have a smallish section.
It's nowhere near what it used to be.
No, the legendary one here in St. Louis was World News in downtown Clayton.
That's right. Yeah.
That place was awesome. And
Yeah.
you could get magazines from around the world, newspapers from around the world. For me as a kid, I used to go downtown in Chicago. Like you mentioned, Gabe, you would have kiosks and newsstands.
Oh, yeah.
It was pretty awesome back in the day. And you guys are right. Those days are gone.
Which is really unfortunate.
How many millennials actually remember seeing a news stand?
Yeah, I don't know. Because one of the things I really enjoyed doing is even when I didn't have a lot of money, I could go to a newsstand, buy a magazine or two, because they were $3 back then or whatever, and go to a coffee shop and then sit there and read about 2 or 3 different topics. And, I didn't have the money to go to expensive stuff, but I could do that as a respite for a day or for, on a Saturday afternoon or something. I could do that. And, it was fun. Sometimes friends would go with me, or the kids would go with me, and they could get a magazine for the kids, or because I couldn't quite afford there were times I couldn't afford a book, but I could afford a magazine.
Right.
And so they could get a snack and we could, chat about that. And I just kind of miss being able to do that, because if I go to one of the bookstores now, they might have something that is okay.
Yeah.
But it's not the variety that I used to enjoy.
That's correct.
You were more sophisticated than I was, because you were reading magazines of grown-up stuff, and I was reading comics still.
On the spinner racks.
On the spinner racks. Comics on the spinner racks was a big deal when I was much younger. And then they changed their distribution model, so it went exclusively to comic shops. And comic shops were a fun deal as an adolescent, as a teenager / young adult. And it was, it's kind of the same idea. It was wall-to-wall print media that you could enjoy, relatively cheap entertainment and things like that. And it's changed so much. I don't collect comics anymore. I gave that up years ago, not so much because I grew out of it or anything like that. I still love all the stuff.
You are still a nerd.
Clearly, I have not grown out of those things. But the writing got trash, and the quality dipped while the price went up. And I had to bounce out. And I'm wondering if it's basically the equivalent that was going on in the magazine world.
I think, and Stell, this was before you came on the show. One of the few times that this guy was just pissed because I mean,
Oh, yeah.
legitimately,
I was
it
angry.
was because you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I
it
do.
was because like the new Superman was gay or bisexual or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And you were angry,
I
and
was
it
angry.
wasn't because you were like doing an anti-LGBT rant.
Mhm.
It was because they were taking that part of like your life
Mhm.
that you enjoyed and weaponizing it for cultural reasons.
Yes, and that's the main reason
Yeah.
of all the bad story quality, because it's basically you have these areas being invaded by leftist activists, and they say, "Oh, look, this is a great platform. Let me preach my message," and then they take everything that you like and they turn it into what they want, and then they can claim, "Hey, look, don't you like Superman?"
Right.
And then they shove this thing in
All
in
the
your
guys
face.
like Superman.
Yeah, clearly Superman likes all the guys, apparently.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, so that's the type of thing that
This
I'm talking
just
about.
dawned on me, like literally while you were saying that, game.
Yeah.
And then all of the things that you were angry about at that point turned out to be a preview
Mm-hmm.
of what we found out about a year later was happening at Disney, because
Yes.
Chris Rufo was able to somehow access that internal video
Mm.
meeting, and exactly what you talked about on that platform, that type of entertainment was exactly what was being pushed. And we got an inside look at the mindset behind those creative types who were saying, this is the platform. This is the audience that we think is open to our message. We would call it vulnerable.
Mhm.
Here's how we're going to push our not so gay agenda, to use their words.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I can see that happening in other media as well. You know, we've been talking about magazines. I can't imagine, Mike, that the you would recognize some of the sports talk, at
Oh,
least,
yeah.
you know, like I've seen ESPN go this route just in general. And I imagine the same thing is reflected in sports magazines
Some
and
of
things
it,
like
yeah.
that.
Remember,
So-
ESPN had a magazine, by the way. But anyway,
Oh
go
yeah,
ahead.
they did.
They
They
had
did.
a good magazine.
That was pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is it's like they just take everything that you're supposed to be able to divorce from the message, and they shove it in there, and they say, well, don't you like this? What, aren't you a true fan? And then when you voice your opposition to it, they call you some sort of bigot and name, and then it's like,
Right.
well, whatever, and steadily losing money the entire time.
One of the podcasts I listen to is the Baseball Tonight podcast. I know everybody's surprised to hear that.
Baseball Tonight.
I know.
Mike.
I know. It's I know.
What is that about?
You know, but I was the only time I've been frustrated with them is they decided to do an entire podcast episode on the struggles of women in Major League Baseball jobs. You know, one woman was complaining because she was like, I think she was like the first woman who was hired to be a bench coach. Was it? I think San Francisco hired her, and I don't remember. But you know, they're being interviewed and talking about how hard it is because they don't have a women's locker room. They don't have a women's bathroom in the locker room. Well, you think Major League Baseball, which has been 100% male for 130 years, didn't take that into account when they built Fenway Park?
They also don't have handicap accessible bathrooms in the locker room.
Not even at Wrigley Field.
Yeah, imagine that.
There's Fred Bird and Clark on my desk.
The latest news.
Republicans are going to try to make the same case against her they were making against Biden.
Kamala Harris was the chief enabler for all of this.
At the end of the day, Republicans know who our candidate is, Donald Trump, who's not a puppet, and that's why he's going to win in November.
Our campaign and President Trump are prepared to defeat Kamala Harris.
We are the most unified party I think that's ever existed.
The party is now Trump's party.
1019 and 94.1.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Re-elect State Representative Tony Lavasco. Tony Lavasco eliminated licenses for home-based businesses. Tony Lavasco, rated 100% by the American Conservative Union. Tony Lavasco, the only candidate endorsed by Missouri Right to Life and by the NRA. Tony Lavasco, the only choice for small, limited government. On August 6th, vote Liberty. Vote Lavasco.
I'm Tony Lavasco, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Citizens for Lavasco. Dan Rakers, Treasurer.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jeremy House. Vice President Harris is traveling to Milwaukee today in her first visit to a battleground state after locking up enough support from Democratic delegates to win her party's nomination to challenge Republican former President Donald Trump. During a House Oversight Committee hearing yesterday, Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle responded to GOP committee member Jim Jordan's question about the redeployment of resources the day of former President Trump's July 13th rally in Pennsylvania.
What I can tell you is that in generic terms, when details make a request, there are times that there are alternate ways to cover off on that threat or that risk.
But that's not what he said. He said they were denied certain requests, requests. This is your spokesperson, not me talking. This is the Secret Service talking.
Cheadle says she takes full responsibility for the agency's missteps related to the attack at the Pennsylvania rally. Israel's leader visits the U.S. Capitol in what is sure to be a high-profile test of diplomacy, politics, and security.
Israeli President Benjamin Netanyahu is in Washington, visiting at a fraught time for Israel, the U.S., and Palestinians. At stake are hopes for progress in efforts to mediate an end to the 9-month Israel-Hamas war. The Israeli leader will meet with U.S. officials and be warmly welcomed by House Speaker Mike Johnson, who helped organize his address to a joint meeting of Congress on Wednesday. Biden has been recovering from COVID, but sources and the Israeli leader both say they are expected to meet.